Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to election night, the live here. I did inform you all that I would be going live, but on my sister's channel, on our Shell Financial, I do believe she's still having it. I did spend 3 hours over there, but I wanted to get to a live with all of you. I just want to go over some of the maps that I have been looking at, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know if you guys are paying attention, but it is looking like that Donald Trump is definitely going to take home this race. So far, I usually like to go over the sponsors and everything like that, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm super stoked. I really just want to take the time and say thank you guys for liking, sharing, subscribing, but I can't wait any longer. I'm ready to jump right in to the election maps. So, hang on. It is a 10 quarter to 11 on my end, so I know it's midnight on you guys, but I'm super stoked, you guys. So let's have ourselves a good time here. Your fault why you can't achieve it. Because you've been sitting here blaming whites. Oh, it's the white man. It's systemic racism why I can't have generational wealth. Amen and hallelujah to that. Amen and hallelujah. All right, you guys, as you can see, I'm a Trump girl. Get over it. I did make sure I went out and I voted here in Texas. It was my first time voting in an election here in Texas. And the funny story is that most of the people that I work with, I'm pretty sure a lot of them were voting for Kamala Harris. So I'm hoping that tomorrow I can say and be at work and actually say, hoorah, my president won. I'm super excited to show you guys some of these maps. Okay. We can jump into culture and everything, but these last couple of days, ladies and gentlemen, the election has been on my mind, and that's what I wanted to talk about. So we're going to jump right in really into the Associated Press map because their live results, I believe, are a little bit more accurate than anybody else. So the most up-to-date results that we have for the Associated Press, ladies and gentlemen, is that Donald Trump is at 230 and Kamala Harris, excuse me, is at 205. Hopefully, Trump can take home Arizona all the way. It is leaning in his favor, which does make me very happy in this regard. But one particular map that I do like to look at the most out of all of them really is the prediction markets. Now, for those of you who don't really know about the prediction markets, it's parleymarket.com. Polymarket is pretty much like a bet thing, right? People bet, and there's really billions of dollars in this election as to who they think is going to win said election. And that's the one that I like to look at, right? Because people put their money where their mouth is. I don't really trust the polls. And so I like to see what we're up against as it relates to that specific to the specific election. So I do want to show you guys that map. Well, for those of you who don't know, the prediction markets have only been wrong 2 times since it's been created back in 1866. So I would have to say, yeah, it's a pretty reliable map in my opinion. I am hoping to see that what is being predicted on is what the Associated Press and NBC predict. Now, they are saying in Polymarket that Donald Trump has a 96.4% chance of winning this election. And I have to say, I have to agree with them. Not going to lie. I would have to agree with it. They all thought that the blue wall was going to stand and that Kamala Harris was going to take Pennsylvania. But you know what I think? I think she was losing it. And that's why she spent most of her time in Pennsylvania all day today, because she knew she was going to have a hard time. And the fact of the matter is, if she chose Josh Shapiro, the Jew, who is clearly an alpha male, she had a shot at winning Pennsylvania. But I think that blue wall is definitely going to come down. Now, again, this is the betting market, the prediction market, excuse me, of polymarket.com. And it does show him winning pretty much all of the swing states. Now, the Associated Press, however, ladies and gentlemen, that's a different story. That one is pretty much saying that Kamala Harris is creeping up in the game. She's at 205. Trump is at 230. People keep trying to convince me that this is going to be close, but he's just about 40 electoral votes away from taking home this election, and I pray that he is. I mean, let's call a spade. All of these stories that we are pretty much seeing coming out when it comes to immigration, when it comes to inflation, these things are just, it's hurting the country. And so we're waiting to see for Donald Trump to actually win. But while we're waiting for some updates, ladies and gentlemen, I do want to show you guys something. I literally, I swear to you, it made me think, what is wrong with Black America? What's wrong with minorities in this country? I swear to you, one of the things that get me, ladies and gentlemen, is, I gotta show you. I have to show you because I don't think you guys are gonna believe it if I don't show it. Earlier today, I was on my way home and I was looking at Cardi B's Instagram live. It popped up in my YouTube feed. Perhaps it's because I do watch a lot of Black culture stuff just to see what's current, what's new, what's happening. Is there something I need to be talking about today? And Cardi B pretty much had a rant that she put out. And I just got to show you guys some of this because, oh my gosh, I got to, hold on. Let me rewind. I'm going to share this with you all because this this blew mine. And I think when you guys see it, you guys are going to lose your Daco. Okay, hold on. Let's get it up. Ah, there we go. Cardi B. I am not bleeping anything, ladies and gentlemen. This is all coming right from YouTube. And because there are copyrights and my YouTube has been flagged for that, I do want to show some of it. But again, I'm not bleeping any of it. So I apologize for how bad her language is.
From poverty, bitch. Not like, oh my gosh, like, bitch, real.
Okay, so let me just be clear, give you some context. This is her. This is Cardi B after her speech in Milwaukee. She's feeling proud of herself. She's feeling like she accomplished herself really well. Earlier in this video, ladies and gentlemen, in this live she did, someone was in her Instagram feed and said, you know, something about how great her speech was and how one day maybe she can become the president of the United States. And I was like, what is the matter with people?
Poor type shit, like 2 sneakers, 3 sneakers, 2 sneakers, 3 sneakers a year type shit, bitch. Like poor type of shit, like poor type of shit. Like my fucking grandma will fucking take us to she will make us walk to PS 128. They used to give us free lunch.
What is that with the ratchet chicks? The, like, is your mouth dry? Like, what is up with that? I swear it's bothersome.
In the summertime, we will have to go to an elementary school to get fucking free lunch in the summertime. Just to eat. I don't know. I just feel like I've been through so much in my life, and for me to represent my people.
Here she goes again. Represent. Gosh, speak English. What is this? Is Black America. This is Black America. You know, when I was doing the live with my sister, I was having a conversation, and if you guys head over to her channel after this, watch the live after the fact, and she said, you know, not Arshell Financial, her guest on the show as well, the other guest. I won't say he was illiterate, but I would have to say, you know, this individual was pretty much as ignorant, right? As far as the way people look at Black people. And when you listen to how some of these folk talk, why would anyone take any Black person seriously? Because the stigma seems like the majority, because they are the loudest one in the room.
Represent my borough, represent my state. Just sometimes I just be like, yo, I really can't fucking believe it. I'm here though. Like, I'm really a part of history, man. Like one day I'm gonna be 85 years old and I'm gonna tell my grandkids, like, yeah, I was part of that. I was part of that shit. Yep, I helped her win. Yeah, you see me and I was looking fine too. I put my best on. Like, I'm really part of that. I'm really gonna be.
Every other word is like. She needs a thesaurus and a dictionary.
In history books. I'm really gonna be in fucking history books. Like, you know, like when you.
All right, I'm done. I can't. She keeps swearing. It's so bad, ladies and gentlemen. It's so bad. That is what they think of Black America. This is what Kamala Harris chose to market on her campaign this entire time when she was first selected to be the next candidate. This is what she thinks of Black Americans. And no lie, from the conversation that I was having just a few minutes ago, folks, yeah, I can understand why they think that. I can understand it. I found myself saying on my sister's live earlier today on our Shell Financial, I found myself saying, I've given up on the majority and the full collective of Black America because they refuse to let go of the victim of ism thinking. They refuse to believe that they are the ones responsible for who they are. It is your fault why you are failing in life. It's not the white man. It's people like Cardi B and some Black Americans that Kamala Harris and the Democrat Party think that this kind of behavior and language, that this is who we are. What is the matter with America, with Kamala Harris and Black Americans? That's who she thinks we are. Cardi B. She thinks we're illiterate, that Cardi B really did speak to us. And when I look at the comments coming in on her live, that one person said she should consider running for president soon because she sounds so great. Great. Every other word was like, every other word was F-bomb and S-bomb. Now, I'm not saying that one person can't go from who couldn't go from behaving badly to being better, but she didn't. She's still behaving badly. She's still uneducated. I said this in one of my episodes. I believe it was my live. Whatever college she went to, parents, don't send your children there because she has a college degree, folks. This is who Kamala Harris thinks every minority American, this is who she thinks we are. That's why she chose these people on her campaign to begin with. That's who she chose. And we're supposed to say on election day that that's the woman that we want to be the next president of the United States when she's choosing people from Black culture who are pretty much partly responsible for the decimation of the grace that once blessed Black America. That's who she chooses. No, she's not winning this election. I got some comments coming in. Hi, Celine. Thank you so much for joining my live. I know I just spent 3 hours on Archie Financial. I wanted to get a live in on this channel to cover the election as well. I'm so glad that you're still awake. Much appreciated. Cardi B is illiterate. Understatement. Every other word was like, F-bomb, B word. I'm going to be in the effing history books. What? Someone really said she should consider running for president. I'm like, if that isn't out of Veep, I don't know what is. See another comment from Celine. Kamala is a communist. She is. When she says she's going to take people's patents, she's going to buy people's guns or seize people's guns. Yeah, this is not an American. This isn't capitalism. This is communist. This government taking over as we expect. Now, I do want to show you guys again the Associated Press map. That's probably they might have an update for us there, ladies and gentlemen. So let's just go ahead and get that up. I know a lot of you are probably like, I don't even really care. I just want to know that when I wake up in the morning, Donald Trump is the winner. But the presidency, folks, is not the only one that is important. It looks like that Kamala Harris has gone up to 209, but we are one seat away from getting ahead in the Senate and having the majority, and it's getting a little bit more competitive in the House races. Hopefully we can get the majority. We need 218 there, and it does look like we are picking up some speed there, but you know, we need to have a super majority, right? We need the presidency, the Senate, and the House, so that way the Justice League of America that Donald Trump has put together can actually get some things done. I have a comment coming in from Celine. Another thing about communism is you're seen as bad if you don't agree with them, which is exactly what the left does. You are not wrong. I mean, case in point, again, when I was on the live and I was talking with Archie's other guest, he was really trying to demonize any comment or that Archie and I made or anyone in the comment section had made as it related to similarities between the persecution of Jesus Christ and what's happening with conservatives. When we say that, like Jesus, Donald Trump has been persecuted based on his beliefs and his political actions because he's standing up for the people, we get ridiculed and we're called blasphemous and that we're the bad guys. I'm like, how is it wrong to actually point out the similarities? Christ says in scripture that this would be the case. And that's just one example about how they try to demonize and make us seem like what we said or what we think is wrong. And that's one of the biggest issues that I tend to have with individuals on the left or just people who are ignorant. I promise you, this is why when Joe Biden won, I said, I'm not debating liberals anymore. He must suffer. And then when we get to the 2024 election, you'll either wise up or you don't. Many of us will, we wised up. A lot of us did. A lot of Black Americans did. There are Black women and Black men who are choosing to be American first and Black never, because they're realizing that if they just get government out of their way, they will be successful. So they're thinking like Americans now, and they're not thinking on the perspective of race anymore. And women aren't thinking in the perspective of sex anymore. They're thinking about what they need to move forward in their life. And that means to get government out of the way so that way they can do what they need to do. And so there's a lot of liberals out there who did wake up, but there are a lot of liberals who just didn't, and they're digging their heels in even more, and they're voting for Kamala Harris. I've had several of those conversations today at work. I've had several of those conversations amongst family and friends. They just refuse to see that continuously voting for Democrats is what's hurting them. All the while, if you're Black, you're holding on to the victimization of Blacks from yesteryear and not holding your own actions, not taking accountability for your own actions today. And so these are the problems with liberals today. Some of them did come to the right side of things, because again, once you suffer under Biden, you woke up. A lot of us did. A lot of people did, but there's still a handful, particularly in Black culture. Good gosh, I swear to you, I'm so done with Black America. I agree with Anton Daniels in this regard. I'm leaving them behind. If you want to go around identifying as a Black person first, do that. That's your business. I am not a Black person in this country. I'm an American, a Christian supremacist American. I identify as a female because, unfortunately, the left have made that so important to say, because they're trying to take my rights away as a woman. You want to take the privacy I have in a bathroom and in a locker room away. I don't give a damn about abortion rights. In fact, I would prefer it be illegal and abolished in this country. I'm not one of these people who think it's going to happen at the federal level anytime soon. I think give it 30 years, it'll go away, or after nuclear war, then we can criminalize it, because you got to have more babies if you want to populate the human race. Those are the only two ways it gets done at the federal level. Give it time or after nuclear war. That's what I think about that. But I don't give a damn when they run around here talking about women's rights. The only people who care about my rights as a female are conservatives, is Donald Trump. I want to go to the bathroom and not have to worry that there's a man coming in. I want to go into the locker room and not have to worry that a man has just walked in here. I don't want to be changing at the gym. And you know how it is when you're in the adult women's locker room. You know, you're coming out the shower, you're wrapped in a towel, you got other women around you. But now what's to say that there's not a man in here staring at you? It's the left who want to get rid of that. And so I'm going to vote for the person who's going to protect my right to privacy as a woman. And that's the only reason why I say I'm a Christian supremacist of America, Christian female. American female, excuse me. That is the only reason why I dropped female in there, because the left have made it important for me to do that. Because now we have to actually say I'm a female, a real woman. But if it wasn't for the left, I wouldn't even be saying that. because race and sex are irrelevant in this country. You can literally do whatever you want as long as it's in the confines of the law and the Constitution. Why are people so afraid to admit that? No, it's because they don't want to hold themselves accountable. And there's going to be a lot of people freaking out on Twitter and all these things. And I can't wait till tomorrow and react to some of those people and these meltdowns, because you know the mainstream media is going to have a freak out when Donald Trump wins. I do want to show some more of these maps. I do want to see if the Associated Press have an update though. Do we have any updates? Let's see. Do we? Let's see. Nope, we're still at 2:30 and Kamala Harris is creeping up in the game. Jeez Louise. It's like, come on. I'm waiting for them to call Pennsylvania and Arizona, Michigan and Wisconsin. They call those for Trump. This is over. I do think he's taking Georgia though, folks. I mean, I am someone who I do believe he's going to take Georgia. I do believe that. But we're at 2:30 to her 2:09. She's creeping up slowly but surely. I still think that he's winning this. I do. I think this is going to be a sweep. I think he's going to win Nevada. I think he's winning Wisconsin, Michigan. I think he's going to win. This is her blue wall here. It's usually the states of Minnesota, Wisconsin, Michigan, Ohio, and Pennsylvania. That is the blue wall. Ohio, after he chose J.D. Vance, we knew he was getting that. Pennsylvania is looking like it's leaning toward Kamala Harris, is leaning towards Donald Trump. So that blue wall, if that comes down, ladies and gentlemen, then we're in a good one. While that is loading, let's look at some of these comments that are coming in from Celine. Donald Trump is persecuted like Jesus because he's not from them, the establishment. Thank you, Celine. You get it. Also, like Jesus, Trump flipped the tables in Washington. Exactly. He spoke truth to power, and that's why he's getting persecuted. Like Jesus, Donald Trump was a bull in a china shop, and the establishment did not like it. I have another comment. I had a leftist try to gaslight me, saying the economy is bad because of Trump when there was record low inflation in January 2020. Another one, I want a safe country and lower grocery prices, right? Right. And Celine, I'm a single woman voting for Trump. Ditto, Celine. Ditto. It's a big deal. I think people need to realize that it's important, that it's okay to say, no, I'm a woman. I'm a woman who likes Trump. I don't want to hear this nonsense. I'm setting women back a century. What do you mean? You mean when we were moral? When we weren't murdering our babies out of convenience? If voting for him forces women to take responsibility for their mistakes and to raise their children, then we're going to do that. What's so wrong about it? Why is it wrong? Because that's what I think is going to happen voting for Donald Trump. Majority of this country is going to continue to move forward in the pro-life movement, and we're going to see policies passed that protect the unborn. And that's really why we're looking to vote for Donald Trump, right? Like, we just need we need him to keep the federal government out of the way. I mean, that's what he did when he first got into office, as much as he could anyway. He kept the federal government at bay while we did whatever we needed to make our lives better. That's the point. Federal government's role is to stay out of our way, protect national security. It isn't to do anything else. It's not supposed to do anything else. Protect national security, protect opportunity, and only interfere in a state if the state is violating my constitutional rights. But if it's not doing it, stay out of my state. It is violating its agreement with the rest of the country. And that's one of the problems that I have with society in this country. People don't seem to understand that this was a mutual agreement between states and the federal government. People like to talk about, oh no, it's the federal dollar. No, the federal dollar is the means of that contract. Texas, like I said this in a couple of episodes long ago, that Texas is working on making its own money. They passed the bill back in 2023. If they can keep going without the federal dollar, they will do that. Why? Because they are tired of what the federal government is doing. They're tired of the federal government interfering. And it shouldn't be. You should be asking for permission to do half the things that it's doing, and it isn't. But if the right guy gets in office, then he'll keep the federal government at bay while states do what they need to get some meat on their bones. I mean, really, that's what has to happen here, folks. And that's why we want Trump in office. Trying to see why this map refuses to load. I really want to get this up for you guys because it's really between, as far as the rules go, the Associated Press, Fox News, and NBC. These are the ones that actually have to announce the projected winner. Okay, they have to announce it. And when those three, the Associated Press, Fox News, and NBC announce the president, then we can say who the victor is. Now, NBC has been reporting on some numbers that I just did not see happening. I did not see it on the Associated Press. I didn't see it from Fox News. And the whole time I was thinking to myself, where the hell these numbers come from? I just want to say, anyone who wants to join the live and join this discussion, I'm putting the link for this broadcast in the description, in the comment section for anyone who wants to join in on this conversation. But let's see what is going on with these maps, because I do know I can get the betting map, guys, but I really want to show you guys what the Associated Press map is looking like, because that's the one that's the biggest one I'm paying the most attention to. I swear it's, like I said, like Kamala Harris is creeping up. She went from 209 and that one is like, what? And he's stagnated, and they still haven't called Pennsylvania. And it's one of the things that's like really pissing me off. The fact that it's the only one that hasn't. Arizona hasn't been called yet. Let me see, Pennsylvania, Arizona, Michigan, Wisconsin, Minnesota. We're still waiting on these. Georgia hasn't been called yet. And the thing is, folks, Georgia did say that we have some results by the end of the night, Wednesday latest. Arizona, I did say there's 3 there on my sister's live, because they said, they reported when their early voting started that it would take them 12 days to count. 12 days to count the votes. Why? Why is it taking you 12 days? For whatever reason, the Associated Press just doesn't want to work for me. Okay, we're going to pull up a different one for you guys. See if I can pull it up here. Bear with me, folks. Okay, I've been on, my computer's been running this entire time, so the connection, it's running a little bit hot. Let's see if I can get this up for you guys. All right, we can pull it up from here, maybe. Okay, let's present it here. Share screen. Thank you guys for bearing with me. Again, my computer's been running for like 4 hours now, so you just got to bear with me. Okay, so this is the Associated Press. They are sharing their map through Bing and Google, which I very much appreciate, because the Associated Press site is just not working for me right now. Again, computer's running hot. So thank you guys for bearing with me. Let's look at some of the comments that have come in so far. Another one from Celine. I know JD Vance wasn't talking about me with that cat lady comments. He was talking about these bitter women who have major TDS. He definitely was, Celine. He really was, because it's the older women who are bitter. They're so upset with us young women who have a future left, and they tried so hard to beat feminism into our psyche that we would grow to be old and bitter just like them. But luckily, we snapped out of it before we got too old and before we got to be too bitter. Unfortunately, Joe Biden did make a lot of us bitter, but that isn't because we are women. That's just because he was a terrible president and everybody's suffering. That's neither here nor there. Let's take a look at the Associated Press map here. I'm a little bit nervous about this, folks. Not nervous that he's going to lose, but that they are dragging out the victory for as long as they possibly can. Like I said, Arizona shows him on the Associated Press that they are in this tight race. But if you go to Polymarket, and I do want to pull that one up as well, Arizona is more like, he's more likely to win that one. I mean, he's more likely to win it 90 to 9%. 90% to 9. And why can I say that? Because most people think that Arizona, it being a border state, is why it's majority going to go to candidates like Donald Trump and Kari Lake. I'm not buying this nonsense that's going blue. I'm not buying it at all. In fact, he should be sweeping all of these swing states. Minnesota is a little bit different because that is the state of Kamala Harris VP pick, Tampon Tim, but even still, he should not even be winning that one. Okay, the betting market again shows him winning that one. I gotta show you guys this map. I have to. Let me see if I can go ahead and share the market. But before I do that, let me bring Arshel. Let me bring her on, add to the stage. What's good, RG?
Hello, I am doing very well. Thank you so much for having me on to your show. That's pretty awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
I'm glad. I wanted to get a live on my channel tonight because I couldn't share the broadcast. So I figured, okay, well, maybe I can at least announce Trump on here for a little while. I'll try to chill for at least until 1.
Yeah, I don't know. It's, I'm my computer, it got, I love this screen because it's touch screen. I remember when I first bought it, I was having some technical difficulties, and because I was running late today after voting, because that line was so long and I had to do some running around, didn't really get a chance to like get acquainted with the, the upgrades I made on the software. And so, I didn't really get the opportunity to say, share, you know what it is. I was on the phone with you before I went live on my channel.
Technical. And I hear you.
Yeah.
I hear you. I appreciate the blessing that you just sent. Did I make that? I mean, I know I left your live. Did someone send that to me? Well, send it to you and then to me?
No, actually, I sent it to your channel because I knew that because you were coming on to mine, I wanted to support your show. And it's like, okay, but she was on my live for like 3 hours. And so I do want to support your channel. So I sent it to your channel. But that was from me, to you. Because we do support each other, and I wanted to support your channel.
That's my twinkler.
Word indeed. I wanted to support
my
your channel.
Twinkie right there. Sure. So say we all.
On my channel, on my
right
live,
now I am.
Yeah, I didn't get the chance to kind of
go
get
ahead.
into
You can
politics.
let me I'm gonna remove the map.
You got it. We didn't really get a chance to go into the policies and stuff like that. And one of the things that I recognize, because this is literally my first election doing the podcast, so trying to get used to giving everybody equal time. It's like, okay, I'm getting irritated by certain things. I want to mute, but if I mute, is that a problem? And of course, I want you to go on because obviously I agree with you on so many things. So it's like, I don't really know when. And then times I had to go to the bathroom. It's the first time I was going straight live.
I get
3 hours.
And
it's a whole lot.
I know what you mean. I mean, no lie. I'm glad that I was glad that I was able to be on your live today. I mean, it was definitely frustrating.
Yeah, and the viewers definitely enjoyed
it was thrilling.
They enjoyed your comments.
They did.
They enjoyed your comments. You did very well on my live. So
yeah, I think it was definitely an experience. I very much appreciate it. But I did want to get a live on my channel because I did say I would be going live. I did say I would be doing it from your channel. I would try and figure out how to cross broadcast. And the fact that I wasn't able to do that, it was like, okay, I got to get a live on here. And so perhaps I can announce
that
Trump being the victor here. So that's going to be
lives.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll figure that out. I don't know why. I mean, I know it's something that I can do through this platform. I'm not sure why I wasn't able to do that. So we'll figure it out. We'll have time to do it tomorrow. But I am showing some of the Associated Press map. And then I will pull up some of what I'm seeing on Polymarket, which I was explaining to the audience is the prediction market. And it was, it's been created since 1866, and they've only ever been wrong twice. But it does look like the Republicans maintain their majority with 51. in the Senate, and it is getting closer in the US House races. I mean, we're at 179 to 146. And obviously, Trump is in the lead, but he's only up by 20 electoral votes. And honestly, this is what's pissing me off about this is that they're taking so long to call them. Like it's 12 o'clock on your end, and you
Yeah.
are in Pennsylvania. And I feel like
Yeah.
they should be able to call states like Georgia and Pennsylvania. Like by now, like why don't you have them?
I completely agree with you. I feel like they should be able to be calling these numbers. They just don't want to do that. We know why they don't want to do that. You know me. You saw me. You
Yeah.
heard, well, not saw me like in person, but I called you earlier. I was on the phone with you early this morning, very excited to vote. While I was waiting to go out and vote, time was taking so long. And some people were telling me, it doesn't matter if you vote because neither president is a good one. Neither candidate really is what they meant. They didn't say candidate. They said president, which already shows you. And it's like, no, it matters. At least I believe it matters. And to try to convince me that it doesn't, when I believe that it does, I don't do that to other people. I don't tell other people that it doesn't, your vote doesn't matter. I don't tell other people not to get involved, not to engage. Listen, if you were in New Jersey, I did see the numbers from NBC, from Fox News, from the Associated Press. Kamala's most likely going to win New York. She's going to win California. She's going to win New Jersey. These are not big
Yeah, do you
surprises,
think that's why they're
And
doing
so for
that?
people
Like,
to tell me that it doesn't matter when we're in a swing state, no, this is one of the states where it actually does matter. And so because I'm a citizen of Pennsylvania and have been for a year, no, I got to go. I have to vote. And I'm getting a little frustrated because I had a plan. I knew what I was trying to do. I knew what I wanted to do. Plan is not working out. By the time I got to the line, it was already 4 o'clock in the afternoon. People are saying one thing. I'm like, okay, but I need to go and vote. It matters. This is a state where it actually matters. I saw that line. It was so long. It wrapped around like 2.5 times. And we were voting at a voting center where it was at a fire station. Fire trucks were coming out. Police cars were coming up and down the street. It's like, this is a reason to just not vote. But you know what? Screw it. I believe in voting. I'm going to vote because it matters. This state matters. So I got out there. I was on that line from 4 o'clock to 5:30 for an hour and a half, almost 6, not even 5:30, a quarter to 6. I get in there. They tell me to take my hat off because apparently I'm signaling people how to vote as if people don't know who they're voting for. Okay, fine. Okay, so if I'm signaling people, thank God I am, but I'll be happy to take the hat off. I voted my way, took my ass out of the voting center, and before I got out the doors, I put my hat back on. People were staring at me. I'm listening to my MAGA music, and I was able to get here to do the lives. To engage,
honestly, I have to say it. I think a huge part of the reason why they're taking such a long time in releasing some of and actually calling these states is because they want to show that Kamala is keeping up in the race. Because honestly, I feel like Trump could have won an hour ago. He could have been the projected winner 2 hours ago. Like while we were on your live, we could have announced Donald Trump was the victor. Had they just made the call, the Associated Press, NBC, and Fox, they could have easily declared something as it related to all the swing states. I mean, it's definitely looking like that Donald Trump is going to win 6 of the 7. And I feel like you're just trying to show her that she has a chance and that it wasn't a sweep. And I do think that if he breaks that blue wall, it is a sweep because that's what's going to determine if it's a sweep or not. If he takes 6 of the 7, and if majority of those 7 are coming from that blue wall, this is done. And I do want to pull up the prediction market maps. Just give me one moment, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to share that screen because that is by far my favorite one. Because again, people put their money where their mouth is. He's expected to win 96.6% or 3.5%. It's expected that he breaks the blue wall and he takes Pennsylvania, Michigan, and Wisconsin. I mean, think about it. Like 90%. It's looking like Wisconsin, 94 to 6%. Michigan, 90% to 10%. Pennsylvania, 96 to 4% chance of Trump's victory. So I'm like, why are you guys not calling this? Now, again, this is prediction markets.
Because they want to go.
This is just where the money is. But let's look at how much money is actually behind this, right? I mean,
Look at
when
those
it comes to
numbers.
Trump, like I think Trump has, like, even the popular vote shows him winning at
Look at
92% to her
92%.
8% of the popular vote. Yes,
Word.
up 65%. And I remember when we were talking on your live, this number was not
Mhm.
that high. So it is a big deal. And I really feel like that, this election could have been announced an hour ago. I just feel like they're deliberately going to states to show that she can not get her ass kicked. Because I don't even think she should have made 210, honestly, because that by itself tells me what the hell is the matter with this country that she could
That's
even
funny.
get 210 electoral votes. Now, I do get a lot of the people who did go red moved out of California and Oregon and Washington State and moved to areas like South Dakota, Arizona, and Texas. So there's not that many Republicans voting in those states anymore. So I didn't
Yeah.
expect California, Oregon, and Washington State to change. But Georgia, I expected them to call. I expected them to call Pennsylvania by now,
Yeah,
especially
'cause it's
Georgia.
almost on
Georgia
my
said we would know
side
something
here
by the end
in,
of the night,
because on my side
and
here in
nothing.
Pennsylvania, it says that, it's almost 12:30. It's 50% for Trump in the Pennsylvania area, 48%. Now, with Trump earlier in the day, it was 51 to her 47, right? And it's like, okay, at 12 o'clock, you could have called this race, right? You could have called this. It doesn't make any sense that we haven't
Yeah.
called this race by now. They're just trying to take this as far as they possibly can. We have another update from Michigan, 52 to her 46%. I think you and I already know what they're doing.
It's like,
I
call
think
it.
it's part of the reason why we're so concerned about these
Who was that
elections.
update from?
This is from NBC. I can't see the Fox screen because that's literally like on the screen next to me, but way further
Yeah,
ahead. Like it's down there and to the left. So
I
I
hear
can't even
you.
see it. But the NBC is the one that I see right across from me. And it's, this would be a lot easier. I can see that we're winning in the Senate. I can see that we're winning in the House from NBC, but I can't see the numbers
Yeah, I think
for,
we
yeah.
won the Senate. Because
Yeah,
we
I
just
think
needed
we're winning the
51
White
votes in the
House. I
Senate,
think
and we
we're
got those.
winning. Yeah, I think we're winning the White House, and I think that we're winning the Senate. I'll say this. We're winning the House. We're winning the White House. I'm concerned about the Senate race
Well,
specifically
we won
as
the
it relates
Senate.
to
No,
Carly
what
Lake.
we won the Senate. We won the Senate. We just needed to win 51 seats to have the majority before Vance, and we have the 51 Senate votes. We had
Yeah, I
51
think.
Republicans in the Senate.
Yeah, I think, but that was the thing. You and I were speaking earlier about, Pennsylvania, and one of the concerns that I have is that, I do think that Pennsylvania is important because there's way too many electoral college votes that are important here. And, you showed the map, the map is showing that he's winning the popular vote by a lot. Doesn't make sense that she would be winning Pennsylvania specifically. He should be winning Pennsylvania. And I just don't understand why they haven't called this race. And it's really irritating me because I'm someone who lives in the state of Pennsylvania. And I was so eager to get out there and vote, to make it known that I was going to vote. I know people who voted for Kamala Harris. And so when they told me that they voted, I'm like, yeah, I need to get out there and vote because people are sitting here telling me that they're voting for Kamala Harris. I've taken some votes from her, but I also needed to make sure that I got out there and voted for President Trump because I already knew, especially with Lara Trump and the work that the boots on the ground were, because of the 2020 election shenanigans, we couldn't have that happen again. And Lara Trump did everything she could to make sure that we felt comfortable about early voting, mail-in voting. She did her part. I still don't care for mail-in or for early voting. I was going to vote on election day. I was a little later than I expected because I didn't want to deal with the longer lines. But when I got there and the lines were long, I still showed up. I stayed on that line. I took my hat off because I didn't want any problems. I could sit here and argue with them about why I shouldn't have to take my hat off, free speech and all that. I came here to vote. I'm here to vote. And the second I finish voting, bet you're behind, I put my hat back on. I don't even care. I'm here to vote.
Yeah.
Because this is a swing state. It matters. The fact they haven't called it. It is 12:30 here in Pennsylvania. They have not called it. He was winning when it said 51 to her 47. It is now 50% and change to Trump, 48% for Kamala Harris. The longer it takes to count, the more I do not trust the vote. In 2020,
The vote.
Supreme
I
Court
hear
passed
you.
election laws, and that's the wrong branch of government to be passing laws. It's just really pissing me
Yeah,
off.
and you
at
know
this
what?
point.
This is what I was saying on your live earlier today.
230 to
That
189
one of
NBC.
the yeah. You said to
Electoral
189 on NBC.
for electoral
I don't
votes,
even know how. This is why I'm looking at NBC kind
For
of a kind
Senate,
of way, because
50
the
to 41.
Associated Press,
We need one more
yeah, because they
for
have
Senate.
they have Harris at 210. They have Harris
Yeah,
at
that's what's
210.
so weird. NBC
on
says
the
one thing,
Associated
Associated Press says something else. Senate, we have
saying another, and I don't even
50
know.
to
I'm
their
like, and I'm
41.
sitting here trying to figure out what Fox is saying at this point, and it's like, because again, Fox News, I haven't trusted them since 2020, and so it's like, okay, who's one? This is why I look at all three of them, because again, you need all three of them to pretty much have a consensus on who the president is. And when there's a consensus announced, that's when really the market, the prediction market map closes, and they'll be able to announce their projection. Now, when I look at, I believe I showed this one to you. It is one of my favorite AI tools. Oh, sorry, because I gotta mute that. That was so terrible.
I did see
earlier
earlier
before you
played some
hopped on,
Cardi B.
I had Cardi B
Liam was
on there,
cracking up
and that
about
was
Cardi B.
just like, she said, I'm gonna be in the fucking history books. I was like, what?
Oh,
Yes. And then someone really did say that, someone in her comment section really did say, you could be the president of the United States one day. What? That person
about
was an
Cardi B.
idiot.
No, they
You are
didn't.
dumber
Yeah.
than she is.
No, they did it. They did not say that. They
They
did not say
did.
Cardi B
They
should be the
did. I had
president.
to rewind the nonsense to catch that comment. I was like, did I read that right? And I damn sure did. This person was not joking. They really meant that, Shako. Like,
You're
no,
making
I
me
meant
laugh.
it. I meant it. Yo, Fox News is so behind. Fox is showing on their map 150 to 179. Oh no, that's the House. I was about to say, where's the
I was about to
election?
say, like, yo,
That's
we in the
Senate
200s for the electoral
and the
right now. Rob
presidential.
Bresnahan,
They got the same thing, 230 to 210.
Rob Bresnahan
You said
for
what?
Pennsylvania congressional race. Okay, Rob Bresnahan won. I voted for this guy for Pennsylvania in Congress. Rob Bresnahan won. I'm so excited, yo. Rob Bresnahan just took home Pennsylvania Congress race. Yes. I'm so excited. I could have sworn I'm voting for this guy, but it is likely.
Oh man, I'm trying to see if I can pull up
I'm
this.
so excited right now. I'm so excited. Rob Bresnahan.
I hear you on that one. Okay, so here is, I'm going to
So
show this map here, share. I mean, now that they called the Congress, hopefully, why
They'll call
are you
the
getting so
presidency.
excited?
Like,
You're
yo,
excited
if
for the
Rob
Congress.
won the Congress, if they can call the Congress,
Just call the
why can't you
presidency.
call-
Word.
Word. Just say Dave McCormick and
Right.
Trump.
So
48.
yeah, this is one of my favorite tools. This is vtnews.ai. This is created by PBD's Valuetainment. This is his product. This is all projection. This is not legitimate. But based on what the AI is learning from what they're seeing, it did look like that. It does look like he's going to win Arizona. It looks like he won. It looks like he won Georgia based off this AI. And PA, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Minnesota are still, again, this is her blue wall. It looks like these are still toss-ups. But even at the map as is, they're saying, from what they're learning, which this is AI. So it's getting the same data that NBC, that Fox News, and the Associated Press is getting. It's getting the exact same data. Why can the AI project Trump at 248? Like he's picked up 18 more electoral votes in this projection based on the data the AI has been able to accumulate. So the fact that the Associated Press, Fox News, and NBC can't actually declare a projected winner yet, when all of this is showing, like, let me just make this map full screen for you guys. Okay. This is again from PBD's Valuetainment, VTnews.ai. And this is an AI that's pulling the exact same data from the Associated Press that NBC
Mhm.
and Fox News is getting. So why in God's name are they able to project that Donald Trump is at 248 and Kamala Harris at 213? Obviously, she would have gone up by 3 electoral votes based on what we're seeing at the Associated Press, but he would have been up to 248. Now, they may not be able to call Pennsylvania, but he would have picked up those votes from Georgia by now. Georgia would have been called by now. And that's one of the things that's bothering me here. They're taking so long. I just feel like they're doing this on purpose just so that they can show that Kamala Harris can keep up, that she doesn't get her ass beat. She can't lose worse than Hillary Clinton. I'm like, what's going
Yeah.
on here? And it's all rooted in policy. I mean, based on my own experience, even on just your live tonight, this is why we said we're not debating any liberals anymore. This is why we said first he must suffer and then they'll
Yeah, because I
either
did say at
learn
the
or
end.
they don't. I do believe that majority of Americans learned their lesson from the hell of it. But with that being said, I
do
do
think.
feel,
Mhm.
that there are still some who just want to stay caught up in that nonsense.
Yeah, because
And
I will
I'm
say
like,
that's
if
one of
you
the
want
things that I
to,
did
so be it.
mention
I'm
at
not
the end.
debating you anymore.
It is one of the things that I mentioned at the end of my live. It was, I did obviously want to give equal time to both sides of the argument. My viewers obviously are more on the conservative side. It's not that we don't go to the other side to listen to arguments. It's that when we find specific channels that specifically speak to certain ideas, they come to the channel for those ideas, not necessarily for a conversation with the other side. And so that's fine, right? Like sometimes I just want to listen to people who agree with me. Not that I don't go to the other side to listen. Like once in a while, I'll listen to people on the left just to keep my bias in check. Maybe they're going to say something. This is why I listen to people like Jill Stein. I'm no real fan of hers as it relates to policies. I think this is a woman I could have a glass of wine with, but this is not necessarily a woman that I would vote for. And it is because she's a socialist, but she's a socialist because she cares. I respect her more than I respect AOC. And so with my live today, I really personally wanted to get more into the policy discussions, which I didn't really get a chance to do today. And again, this is my first live on an election where I had a conversation with people on the other side in that regard of ideas. And so I can't really say if I handled it well. Some people in the comments said I did okay, which, that's, I'd say
High
confidence
praise when it's your first.
boosting.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I kind of wanted the opportunity to get into the policies because I feel, and you said it in my live, you said it here on your live as well, that we as Black Americans specifically and with liberals, why we're so exhausted with debating you. I'm officially at the point where if you don't know the information, I'm done. All I'm going to tell you is this is what it is. Believe it, don't believe it. Find the cross, don't find the cross. I did my job. I pointed you to the cross. I pointed you to Jesus. I pointed you to the truth. If you don't follow that information, if you don't listen and hear what I'm saying, it's entirely up to you. You want to debate me
That's how I
on
feel.
what's right, wrong, righteous, why we're voting for Trump. Like that's really what it comes down to. And I think you and I have had that conversation about why we don't want to debate them. And
we
Candace, I
have.
think, is there as well.
I
We're
hear you.
there.
And it's like, I don't debate them anymore. I don't. And I was willing to do that on your channel because I don't think you've ever really had a debate on yours at all
I've
yet. So
never
I know that
had
this
a
was a
debate.
new experience for you. Now,
It
when
was.
I remember I had you on the show and you were debating this other gentleman. Oh, my I voted sticker came off. The other gentleman that came onto the live, and you guys were debating just a little bit. And my whole thing is when you're moderating, you ask a question, you have a side for each, you have a person for each side, let them have at it. And then when it's over, end it, and that's it. You really don't have to say much of anything if you have two people who can really articulate their arguments. The problem is some people just don't know when to shut up, and that's just when you have those issues on your channel, and you just got to figure it out and learn along the way. But
Word.
again, it's like, but I can debate a person who has common sense and where we share certain values, and it's just we have small disagreements where the debate is filled with substance, right? Where I can actually hear your perspective and actually understand where you're coming from a little bit. But the problem with when we're debating these liberals is that sometimes they just want to stay stuck in their ways and refuse to understand that the way that they've been voting has been hurting them. Like, case in point, remember that live I had where that one gentleman was in my live, and I'm like, I don't think you're realizing that we actually agree with each other. You're just listening to respond. And then he realized that we did, and then he got offended again. And it was like, you see, but this is what happens when you're debating Black folks specifically who don't want to move past the hurt of yesteryear, a hurt that they had never experienced. And that's why I'm like, I'm going to agree with Anton Daniels in this regard. I'm leaving them behind. And then you got people like Cardi B and Black folk in her Instagram live saying crap like, I think you could be the next president.
Senate
what?
Republican
Like, just the
control, according to
contrast.
NBC.
Yeah, I knew
saw that
that
in
because
the-
they have 51. You just needed 51 to maintain
Yeah,
the
it
majority.
just
And I knew
updated.
they were
Trump
keeping
at
the Senate.
246 electoral votes, 189 to Kamala Harris on
And this
NBC.
is the
I wish I
NBC.
could see the Fox screen. This is NBC. This is NBC. I wish I
Like,
could see the
what's
Fox screen.
happening?
You know, I can't see that from
I wish I
here.
could. I the only one I have from Fox is like, let me see if I can find that one for you, because that one, if I can find it here, then we're good. Because really, I'm not even watching any of the news cycles. It's literally all of their all of their maps is just on. Let's see. Fox News
Yeah,
election
51 to 41.
2024.
Senate is Republican race.
Let's
It's like as
see.
if they're calling it for the Senate. I would
All right.
love for Kari Lake to be in there, yo. I really want
Yeah,
her
they
to
have
win.
to call it. I hope so. I really
want
hope so.
Kari in this, especially after 2022's governor's race. I really want Kari to win. It'd be really great for the MAGA matron to take home a win. I mean, I can't even believe it. Like, it's looking like for the Senate, Dave McCormick, who is the guy running for Senate here in Pennsylvania, he's running, and I didn't expect him to win. I voted for Dave McCormick for Senate because I did see some information about what was going on with his relations with China, but those were the ads, right? But I also saw in those ads the ads against him saying, oh, he's too extreme for Pennsylvania because he doesn't believe in the exception when it comes to abortion. He's also made money from China. So if he's saying he wants to save babies more than he makes money from China, frankly, I'm going to pick picking life over money from China more than anything else. And I didn't expect him to win, to be honest. I was kind of surprised when I looked at the numbers from one of these YouTube media companies. I believe it was Live Now or Now Media. I don't know what it's called specifically, but they did say that Dave McCormick was in the lead against Bob Casey. And Bob Casey, he's been in office for 18 years, almost 2 decades. And the numbers are looking dismal. People want something new. This Dave McCormick has been in the military. He is pro-life. And so if there is anything that I can expect from Dave McCormick, it was going to be any policies about preventing late term and afterbirth. So I voted for him because I knew, if anything, I was going to get that policy. Don't violate, the overturning of Roe v. Wade. The only thing I need from him is this policy specifically about preventing late term and afterbirth. The state of Pennsylvania could do everything else. I didn't expect him to win. It was one of the elk stories of Lord of the Rings. It is likely we march to our doom.
We march to our doom.
But we march anyway because, a wizard should know better. Right. So we march, even though there's a good chance we lose. But Then I
I
saw the
know what
numbers.
you
It was looking
mean.
like he was winning. And then I just saw that Rob Bresnahan, they declared victory for Rob Bresnahan, who was running for Congress here in Pennsylvania in my
You know what? That
area,
really is a good
and
question.
he
I'm about to
won.
find out. Did Kari Lake
Like,
is Car who like what is the Kari Lake race looking like?
I really want her to win. I really want Kari Lake to win because she's the MAGA matron.
Yeah, let me ask you though. What are
The
some of the
Labor Department.
policies that you're looking forward to under the Trump administration? Is it the policy specifically from Trump, or is it from the actions you expect from the real life Justice League of America that you're most excited for?
It's the policies from the real life Justice League, but also from the policies from President Donald Trump. I will say there are some things that I am suspicious of. You know, I don't like that he received a lot of money from APAC. That does make me a little bit concerned about the peace among religions between Christians, Jewish, and the Muslims. I do think that the separation of church and state has not been respected because of what we've been seeing with the war specifically in the Middle East. I think that there's been a lot of division in the United States because people are picking between pro-Israel and pro-Palestinian. Not to say that I'm anti-Israel or anti-Palestinian. I'm not interested in spending money on bolstering up environment for free Palestine. You know, I'm a little concerned. Sorry, but the second we
Yeah.
freed Britney Spears, she was dancing with knives. Why am I to believe that if we were to help Palestinians build their own area, that you're not going to try to come after us anyway, which I completely understand, because why wouldn't you, right? Totally get it. Why should you let that go? I get it. But at the same time, because I understand why you would come after us is why I don't want to help you make that a possibility. I am not anti-Israel, but I also don't want to help support the continuing of this war because I don't like the fact that this war even happened to begin with. I don't like what Bibi Netanyahu is doing. I don't like the fact that this is going on and on and on. I certainly don't like the fact that the Sharia law of the Muslim faith is anti-Western civilization. There's a lot of problems there, and I'm just not a big fan of that. And so I do think that because Trump receiving money from APAC could be concerning, at the same time, he does believe in putting forward the technology for defense shielding. As a geek, love that. That could be doing wonders for the United States as it relates to defending the United States. So for security purposes, I think when it comes to war, he might do well. But then even then, that's because of Tulsi Gabbard. When you look at RFK Jr. in his endorsement speech for President Trump, he specifically spoke about the chemicals in our food that speeds up the process of puberty. It's some of the reasons why young girls are hitting puberty way faster. So in the event of an assault, a rape, they find themselves impregnated. And if they weren't hitting puberty sooner rather than later, then the being impregnated wouldn't have been a circumstance. You know, sorry, but a 5-year-old getting preggers, it makes the conversation of deleting a child in the womb a lot harder for some Americans. But ultimately, if we deal with the chemicals, then we might do something different. Elon Musk wants to audit the federal government. I am suspicious. I'm waiting for the day the man says he's that Elon is Lex Luthor. Waiting for the day. I feel like there's going to be a day. At the same time, I
Well,
do think he's going to do
this is
something about the audits
yeah.
and making sure the federal
I will
government spends
say
its money
that's one of the
wisely.
things
All
I
our
think
money
that
wisely.
is I think that is the most let me phrase this correctly. That is the thing I am the most excited about. When I look at what Elon Musk did with Twitter, with the Twitter files, and if he can do the exact same thing and convince Trump to pretty much, declassify files from the DOJ, the FBI, I don't really expect to see CIA files because I expect that to be very over the top, very sensitive. Unless it's any operations of the CIA operating in the United States of America, I don't think he should be declassifying any CIA files. But if it's about what any operations here, yeah, release the CIA files, release the DOJ files, and then actually audit the books. And I do believe with Vivek there, because the one thing that he campaigned on when he was running for president, Vivek, I mean, he did say that he wanted to pretty much scrap 2/3 of the federal government. And that is one of the things that have me so pretty much the most excited about the JLA that Trump has put together. Because I remember when Vivek was running, and I was like, I'm not watching this debate because I'm only watching this because of Megyn Kelly. Like, she's the only reason why I'm watching it. And then he was the only one saying how he wanted to scrap any agency that wasn't created by the founding. And it was like, who is this guy? Like, I like what he just said. Scrapping the Department of Education, getting rid of the IRS, getting rid of the FBI at the federal level and letting states handle their own crime and commit and just communicate with one another, because it's not the local FBI that's the problem. It's the federal bureaucrats. So if you let the states do what they want to do and then just decide, I'm going to get rid of these federal guys, between Vivek and Elon Musk, I do see that that will actually happen. I also am excited to see the role that Tulsi Gabbard is going to play as it relates to defense, because I do believe she would be the Secretary of Defense. It would have to be her, or the Secretary of State, right? She would be better in Hillary Clinton's position. And the only reason why I would put her there is for two reasons. Number one, because she is a soldier. She knows what it means to take a life. She knows what it means to have your life at risk. And so she's not going to be eager to start sending people to war. You don't have to worry about her having a Benghazi scandal. That's number one. Number two, Hillary Clinton called her a traitor, and for her to have that chick's job and to do it better would be remarkable. So I think either, Secretary of Defense or Secretary of State, or Defense Secretary or Secretary of State. I think she would do a phenomenal job in those positions because of her role as both in Congress and in combat. I think it gives her a little bit more of an insight to those roles, and she would actually do fairly well. And then what Trump could do as the presidency, I'm like not really looking for him to do much of anything except to deregulate, frack a whole bunch of stuff, and really declare a state of emergency at the border. I do hope that he does listen to some of these voters in blue states, because they want the military in to deal with these criminals. The cops aren't doing it because the governors and their commissioners have authority. And so I do believe that if they listen to him, if he listens to these citizens, if they want them there, because remember I said, even when it comes to like invading Mexico, when Ann Coulter was saying she thought that, I'm like, if not asked, don't go in, defend our borders. Yep. I feel the same with American cities. You don't want to just send in the military and send in tanks. I mean, really, the mainstream media is going to do what they're going to do. But if the people are asking you to come and to send the military in, do that. Who cares what these cackling women on The View are going to say? Who cares what NBC and the rest of them are going to say? Funnily enough, I just learned on PBD that Comcast is ready to sell MSNBC for, I think, a third of what they're worth, because they keep causing them issues. MSNBC could be sold like in the next month or so. And they're not the only ones. We're hearing Bob Iger wants to get rid of ABC because they're just causing problems for the network, for the company. Yeah. It's like you're hurting the stock value. You're hurting it. And so it's like, yeah, the mainstream media, no one's going to really care soon. So yeah, he can really make some moves there. I'm actually really excited about what we can expect. Now, there are some policies that I do want to see come out of the federal government as it relates to specifically the dollars. I did want to give you an update. I mean, I think it's the same thing you got from what you call it. Ruben Galileo
just took it home for Pennsylvania. I think he just took it home as the Pennsylvania senator. Amazing. Let's get
Lake is at 46% to Ruben Galileo, or whatever his last name, 52.2%. She's struggling. Really, Phoenix and Tucson have the biggest populations. I think if you saw most of these people moving out of those areas and voting for,
I think Kari,
I think we would have a better shot.
I really want Kari to take it home, because I do think America first, like I voted for Dave McCormick because he wants to save babies, right? Like he's pro-life. He's not for late term or after birth. He's not for infanticide. And so when I saw the anti-Dave McCormick ad saying he made money in China, he's too extreme, I'm like, okay, so him saying that he's too extreme because of abortion. Sorry, that's only going to make me want to vote for this guy. I looked at his policies on the website, and one of the biggest thing that stood out for me was that he wanted to do something about the spending and cutting spending. He wanted to do something about pro-life because of his position on being a pro-life candidate. These are the things that I stood for. And I think with Kari Lake, I think that she gets a lot of stocko thrown at her because, you know, she's considered Trump in heels. And, you know, she's not afraid to point out the fact that 2020 had problems, that 2022 had problems, that her election for governor had problems. And, you know, she was in the lead in July. She was in the lead about a week ago. And so I do think that there is something funny going on with Arizona.
And I knew something was going on when they said they needed 12 days.
Yeah, there's something going on with that. This woman is the governor. The MAGA matron is the governor of Arizona. She just didn't get the title because, according to
that is something that I hope he does. God forbid she doesn't win her race here, and if he deploys some election integrity department,
I think that's a sad tragedy here because I think part of because I do think we
have the Senate already, so we don't technically need her vote. But
I understand that Republicans have won the Senate, so red is the color for the Senate. That, is that a good thing? I would say yes. At the same time, how many out of the red are actually America first? And so when it came down to, even for my state with Dave McCormick, right? I looked at his policies and those ads that were coming out when I saw the first ad I saw about him, the ad against him was, oh, well, he's too extreme because he's not for the exception. He wants to ban abortion. Well, that's only going to make me want to vote for him. I need something else if you're going to make me not vote for the guy. Then they showed an ad about how he made money with the Chinese government. And I'm like, okay, but how many other politicians have? The fact that he's never been in office, that he was a soldier, so he understands there's some similarities between him and Tulsi as it relates to being a soldier. That's the first thing. The second thing, he's pro-life. So that, not even so much a second, that's the primary thing. And so it's not that I like everything about Dave McCormick. It's that he wants to save babies and he wants to do something about spending and inflation specifically. And one of the reasons why inflation and doing something about the cost of living is so important to me is because I see how young people are struggling. It's affecting families. There's conflict up the wazoo because of the cost of living. It's becoming a real problem. The enemy, and I mean on a spiritual front, is working here. And so I voted for Dave, not because him making money with China doesn't bother me, but because on a spiritual front, money is not the most important thing. Saving life is. Being pro-life does matter. And if he wants to save babies, that's the most important thing to me. And Kari Lake, okay, so we have the Senate. Republicans have the Senate. Okay, but Liz Cheney is a Republican. Dick Cheney is a Republican. McCain was a Republican. Bush was a Republican. Romneys were a Republican. Stop the Steal didn't go the way that we wanted it to in 2020 when we tried to do something about it. In 2022, where were the Republicans? I mean, we're trying to ask the questions about Kari Lake's governor's race against Katie Hobbs. So it's not so much about the fact that we are, majority Republican in the Senate. It's how many of us are the senators. We saw what America First did for the Congress. We were able to get Kevin McCarthy out of there because we were America First. And so why is it so important to have Kari Lake in there? It's not just about being majority red here. Okay. I don't care what color your dress is. I don't care what color your shoes are, your tie is. I don't care. What are your actual ideas? What are your beliefs? Are you America First? From Dave McCormick, he's pro-life. He's for banning abortion, at least late term after birth. He's for making sure we do something about the spending and the inflation. And these are the things in that order: life, cutting spending, bringing down inflation to getting rid of it entirely. Why I voted for this guy. Kari Lake, she's America First entirely. And so it's not just about voting for entirely red. Why do I want Kari in there? Because I know that she's America First, and I would love to see what we saw in the Congress.
I could agree with you on
in the Senate
on that. And honestly, I think Yeah, I do believe that she won her governor race in 2020. I do believe that she
Just
won
won't call
that she's
Pennsylvania. It's
winning
really
the Senate.
um,
Yeah, they're not calling
for
Pennsylvania. They're not
president.
calling
Okay, so we
Arizona.
know
I do have a
they
comment
won.
in here.
Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry, go
yeah. Hold on. I just want to get
ahead.
this comment in from T Mac. Just thank you for joining the live, T Mac. I just want to get. I must be out of touch. I can't believe over 50 million people vote for someone whose platform is abortion rights. You are not wrong. I swear, I don't understand how over 50 million people are voting for Kamala Harris, but 50 million people are delusional. And
We're at
unfortunately, the
246.
suffering that they faced was not enough. Like it wasn't. They would have to literally have been beaten down by an illegal for their minds to have been changed. But I do have an
NBC
update, ladies and gentlemen, from
just
the
said
Associated
51.1
Press.
to 48 for Pennsylvania. So
Um,
they're going up again.
say that again. Say it again.
For NBC, for Trump in Pennsylvania, we're up 51 to her 48. So we're back up. You know, it was at first, it
And
was
that's
like,
by
51, went down to
NBC.
50 to now back up to 51 to her 48.
I swear they're killing me. They
They are.
did show that Donald Trump is up to 246 electoral votes to 210. They called Georgia. Thank you. Gosh, he won Georgia and North Carolina. Now we're just waiting for
Yes.
Arizona and the rest of the blue wall and Nevada. But he's so far won
you, I think
3
Harvey
of
won.
these swing. He's won. Georgia wasn't even looked at like it was. Well, no, it was looked at like a swing state. So Georgia was
Yeah.
a swing state. North Carolina was a swing state. Obviously Pennsylvania. So far he's won 2 of the
Tomorrow's
8.
going to be, well, later today, I should say,
1,
it's going to be fun.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So yeah, there's literally like out of these 7 to 8 swing states, 7, I believe. Out of the 7, so far he's taken home 2 of them. We're waiting for Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, Arizona, and Nevada. They clearly, by the Associated Press, are showing that they are leaning toward Donald Trump. I do believe that blue wall is coming down.
Oh,
I
yeah,
do not
'cause
see myself
NBC is
making
saying
it
he's
to
winning
announce a Trump
Wisconsin.
victory. I
They're
think he's
saying
winning
that he's
Wisconsin
going to
too.
win
I mean,
Wisconsin.
there's
It says that he's going to win Arizona,
without a doubt.
49.9 to 49.2%. I think you and I know.
Which is a bunch of
Does
hogwash. I think he's
Kari
winning by a
go with the
landslide. Like they're
win?
so cheating there.
They are. This
Like
was supposed to be a
Kari
landslide.
usually down ticket. If Trump wins, like trying to paint this picture that Donald Trump is only winning by a small margin, it explains why Kari Lake loses by a small margin. But if Donald Trump wins by a huge margin, then
Kari
she should be winning her Senate race. And that's one of the biggest problems with this, with Arizona. When they first said, they said this like a week and a half ago when they started their early voting, that they would need 12 days 12 days in order to count the votes. When Georgia was one of the problems. Oh, Trump is at 247 now. So the fact that Georgia, who was one of the states that had problems in 2020, said that they fixed their problems. I got to thank their governor for that. Their governor got things fixed up and ready to go, that they said by the end of the night, we should be able to tell you who the winner is of the state for the presidency, Congress, and the Senate. And they've announced it. It's officially 12 o'clock. Maybe it's like 1 a.m. on their end too, because they are on the East Coast.
It's
Who
1
knows? They
o'clock
are
on
the
my
Southern
end here in
East.
Pennsylvania.
Right. So they are official. They were able to announce it. So I don't understand why, in God's name, everywhere else they cannot. Pennsylvania, and these are the states that held this up. These were the 2 states, well, 3, because Georgia was one of them.
Because do you remember?
But
I don't know if you remember this.
Pennsylvania and Arizona were the 2 that held us up and made us wait 5 days later to find out who the president was.
PA, Bucks County, Trump's up 50.3 to 48.7. They should just be calling Pennsylvania. Okay. So I don't know if you remember, and when you and I were still kids, we were in middle school, and Obama had just been announced, and it was 12 o'clock Eastern time. So we were both in New York. We were in Brooklyn at the time. We were going to school in Brooklyn. And they had just announced at 12 o'clock our time that Obama had won the presidency. Okay. They had just announced it. Notice every presidency since Obama's, come and gone, they've been going way after the fact. It's like, okay, so here's the thing. Either you were wrong to announce Obama was the winner at midnight, or you are deliberately having this go on longer than it should because you're trying to say somebody else is the winner. And I do think that they are
Right.
pulling some funny business. I do think that there's some shenanigans. You and I have we've discussed this many of times. Kamala Harris is not the plausible moderate that they had with Joe Biden. Joe Biden said it to Obama just a few months ago. She's not as strong as he is, and he was absolutely right about that. She's not making the grounds with men. Pennsylvania did not care that she got the Taylor Swift endorsement. It didn't matter that she had all of these people on the Diddy list endorsing her. It didn't matter. None of this actually mattered. Either they were wrong for announcing Obama as the winner at midnight when he won the first time around for his first term against John McCain, or you are deliberately pushing the time in which you announce just so you can have the count go on longer. It doesn't make any sense that Rob Bresnahan has claimed victory here as a congressperson for Pennsylvania. He's the guy I voted for Congress, okay? Doesn't make sense that he's able to announce his victory. Doesn't make sense that Dave McCormick was able to announce his victory and address his supporters here in Pennsylvania, and you still not have called the state of Pennsylvania to President Trump. It does not make any sense that you have not called the election for Arizona when, if it takes 12 days to vote, you had how many weeks and months for early voting? You had how many weeks for mail-in ballots for your military, for your disabled, for anybody who did not want to do this in person, okay? Out of the sake of convenience, risking the chances of your vote being stolen and rigged, that you chose to do the mail-in ballots. And so, I'm very proud of the work that Lara Trump has done, what the RNC has been able to do because of the boots on the ground, the troops on the ground, I should say specifically. If you vote for Trump, you vote for Kari Lake. How are we looking at the numbers for both the poly market and the electoral map suggesting that Trump is going to take home Arizona? Okay, if he takes home Arizona, why is Kari Lake not in the lead in the polls? Doesn't make any sense. And so you can't say that he's winning and she's not. And why is it so important for her to be there? Because she's America first. I haven't heard Dave McCormick say he's America first. I didn't watch any of his rallies. I just
And you know what? I would have
website.
to agree
So
with
I am
you on
concerned.
that, because one of the
I
problems
need her in the
one of the
Senate.
problems that I do have when I look in the House specifically is that there aren't that many America First, enough to cause some problems amongst the Republicans. And I thought that was how a republic should be operating, right? To see what rigorous debate amongst a party looks like when people are just sick and tired of America being sold out last, and you realize that America First candidates are the only ones who really have America's interests at heart, where both
Right.
parties just don't really give a damn. And so this is why you're right when you say Kari Lake needs to be in the damn Senate. Like, it's not just about being red. Now, don't get me wrong. It's great to have the majority for Republicans when Trump is in office, because what's going to happen is, if the Congress is filled with Democrats, they're going to impeach, and then the Senate's going to have to stop the impeachment, and whatever he's trying to accomplish for the first term outside of executive orders is not going to happen, because we're so busy fighting the Democrats in the House, right?
Yeah, because
And
how
the
do we not
Senate being
know who
red,
won the
and the
Senate?
Senate being red, right? But the Senate being red stops them in their tracks for impeachment. So it's like, okay, I'm glad that it's looking like we'll have the majority in the Senate to protect him from impeachment. God forbid the Congress is run by Dems, right? So God forbid that's the case, because I know January 1st or 2nd, right, the day after New Year's, the new Congress takes over. Like, they are sworn in before the new president. And so I know that when Trump takes his oath on the 21st, as long as Johnson is the Speaker of the House, we're going to certify the election. Everything's going to be fine. If Hakeem Jeffries is the House Speaker before Trump takes the oath, then we're going to have a problem. He's not going to want to certify the election, and we're going to have some problems there. And so I want to avoid those. And so I think that's why a lot of us, especially me specifically, I'm excited to see that the Senate and the House are headed in the red, regardless of America First. But then I take into consideration, I look at Mike Pence, and I do look at,
Yeah.
what was his name? McCarthy. I look at those two, and I'm like, you
Yeah.
both were Republican. but you
Yeah.
weren't America first, and you
Yeah.
weren't
Seeing
trustworthy. And so I
archangels
do
and
hear what you're
shepherds, that's
saying.
one thing, but they're
And
not
it's
Senate.
like, like they're killing, like, what is taking so long? Like, I keep refreshing the heck out of the screen. I don't even think I'm gonna make, like, I told you, even like when you first signed on, like, I'm hanging in till 1 a.m. But if they don't make an announcement on the victor, I'm gonna wake up and we'll know who the president is. And I think that's what they're
Yeah.
counting on, that Americans don't stay up waiting
Because
for
they're
the
waiting for us to
news.
fall asleep,
And
because that's what happened in 2020. We went to sleep
so they
knowing
can
Trump was
just
gonna win, and most of us were like, I stayed up.
woke up.
I stayed up. You know, it was during COVID. I was told I wasn't allowed to work because I was a non-essential worker, so I had nothing but time because I knew I had
No.
nowhere to go in the morning. Right? That was 2020 when that
So are you
election took
gonna,
place.
let me ask you, are you saying, like, when I end this live, because literally this is ending in like 40 minutes, right? So
You're
let's
funny.
say, I'm serious. I have
I'm
to work tomorrow.
probably
Like, I said I
going
was staying up
to
past my bedtime.
I'm
I
gonna
never
stay up as
expected
long
to
as
be
I
staying up
possibly
till
can.
1 a.m.
I'm gonna stay up as long as I possibly can, because you went to sleep because you had to work the next day in 2020. It was 2020 COVID shutdowns. I was told I was a non-essential worker. I had nothing but time but to stay
What?
up
Like,
and
I gotta
watch.
get up at
I
4
watched
a.m.
numbers change. I saw Trump was winning, and next thing you know, he wasn't. He comes out for his speech, and I was
Okay.
pissed.
I
Like, what do
hate to
you
interrupt you.
mean?
I'm just muting my mic because there's a dog outside the studio. 1 second,
You
folks.
got it. You got it. But I remember 2020 and I was pissed, and I'm like, yo, I've watched, I've seen the numbers change. Okay. First of all, COVID just a guise, so that way they can steal an election. I completely agree with Trish Reagan on that. COVID is just going to be a way for them to manipulate numbers, just so that way they can say somebody actually won this. And had Trump been stronger on COVID, that may not have actually happened, but it did. Shoulda, coulda, woulda. Right? It happened. And I remember watching, because I was told I was not a non-essential worker. I couldn't work, couldn't get tickets sold to put behinds in the seats for Broadway. Okay, I got nothing but time but to watch these elections. I was watching, and Trump didn't win. Are you kidding me? I watched this be stolen. It made no sense. I got nothing but time. And that's why people are, when they say election deniers, you realize that a lot of the people who didn't have the time to watch, if they had been working, wouldn't have seen these numbers change. If they had gone to sleep because they knew the next day they were going to be going to work, they wouldn't have seen this happen. I watched it happen. And I'm seeing in some cases this happen another time, only the margin for conservatives voting this time around is much larger than what it was for 2020. So I do suspect that it's going to be a red wave. This is a question of whether or not America first goes along with it. Because when Kevin McCarthy, it only took 8 of us to be able to say, yeah, no, I want what the founders wrote, not what you think it should be. And if you can't do that, we're going to remove you. It was that simple. And this is why it's so important to have
You know what
public.
I'm thinking?
Dave McCormick, I voted for this guy because I trust he's going to do his part. Yes, but I have more faith if in the Senate, if Kari Lake is there. I believe we're going to get more done with her there. Yes, Dave McCormick won. At least that's
So
what
here's
being
what
shown. But
this
why it's
this
so
is
important for her
what
to be there? Because,
this is what I think. I think
pissing me
Kari
off.
Lake,
Yeah, I
personally,
see.
I
I'm
think
looking
this
at
is
these
what's gonna
numbers,
happen.
52
I
to 46.
think that honestly, I think they're
Wow.
gonna cheat her out of her win. I think they're going to give I think Trump is gonna win Arizona. I think Trump is going to win Arizona. I think Kari Lake is unfortunately going to lose the Senate race, not because she lost fair and square, but because they're going to cheat her out of it. And that's just what I believe about Kari Lake. But with that being said, I unfortunately think that Kari Lake is going to she's going to be a huge part of the America First movement going forward.
She's gonna have to be appointed, not
but
elected.
She's not.
Like Judge Jeanine.
Yeah, that's exactly where we're at. She's not going to, because she's not electable. Let's say that they're not cheating. She's not electable because she comes off isolationist, to quote Megyn Kelly. Now, Americans across this country love her, right? But
Yeah.
the liberals that live in that state can't stand her. Now, I believe that they're cheating against Kari Lake, because I'm like, that's why they're trying to convince us that there are these small margins. They know Arizona's going to go to Donald Trump, but if he loses with a small gap of votes, then you can justify her loss. If he was beating her by like 80%, Kari Lake would be riding that coattail all the way to the victory. But my personal
Yeah.
opinion, I think she needs to stay in politics. She needs to stay in politics. She needs to be a part of the RNC in the state. She needs to be creating the biggest ground game in the state of Arizona to secure America first moving forward in that state. I think that's the only thing that she can do now, simply because she's not electable right now. And
I
it's
think,
not because
yeah,
people don't believe
she
in her positions. It's
she'll
just
be a
that in the state of
Schlafly.
Arizona, with all of she will be a Schlafly. That's Kari Lake's future, because
A
she's not going to win
Schlafly,
the
not an
Senate. She's
elected
not going to win
official.
her Senate seat.
She'll change hearts and minds.
Exactly. But she's going to be the best thing that hit culture since Phyllis Schlafly. I think
Yeah, because you're right. That's
Kari
not
Lake is it.
necessarily
She would
a
have.
bad thing.
It
Yeah.
isn't. It isn't. Gotta remember, Phyllis
Schlafly
Schlafly stopped
prevented
the
the
ERA
ERA
1,000 times.
twice.
First she
Twice.
did it as a
In
young
the
woman.
70s
Word.
and in the 90s.
And
Yeah.
then in the 90s. So it's like 20-year difference facing the same problem. And I do think that's her future, because she traveled the country and she got Americans to look at border security differently. She got Americans got women to not pay attention so much to abortion rights, but looking at things like the economy, right? She brought she's the reason why Tulsi Gabbard, in my personal opinion, went all the way over to being a Republican, and not
I think so
because
too.
of the grand old party, but because of the America First agenda and what it means for peace and prosperity for Americans, and how we can set the example for the world without having to be the world's security guards, right? And I think she played a huge role in bringing in Tulsi Gabbard and a lot of other independents. She was a huge deal in the America First movement growing since 2020. I mean, let's be for real. When he was still in office, remember Kari Lake came out, and that's why I'm running for governor, and everybody just roared the way that they did. Like, even though she may not be in politics the way we would like her to be, that does not mean she doesn't have a position to play. Now, she may not win this, and maybe this is a message that God is sending her, saying, I don't want you I don't want you to be an elected official. I want you to be the one that tells them what to do. This is what the people want. This is what America First is looking for. She's perfect for the ground game. She's a huge part of the reason why Donald Trump was gaining a lot of money through small donations, right? Every event that she did, she was bringing in those donor dollars, and from small donors, individual Americans. The America First movement was growing. She was a huge part of that. So I'm like, maybe this is God saying, what else do I have to do to tell you? Stop running. You are the matriarch of this movement. I need you here and not in office, where you're gonna sit there, you're gonna debate, and you're gonna argue, you're gonna come out bitter. What is it that Christy Noem says? You either become corrupt or bitter.
Yeah.
If you stay at the
I
federal
will
government for
say,
too
I
long.
do think
So I'm
that
like, maybe it's a blessing in
um
disguise that she didn't win the governor race, that she isn't going to be the senator. Maybe there's a blessing in that somewhere. We'll find
I
it
will
by the
say,
morning if she's
because,
not declared
I
the winner.
think that when you are an America First conservative and you're someone who's been excited about Kari Lake, I've been excited for it, and there's a number of reasons why. I just don't believe Governor Abbott can do it by himself when it comes to that border. And yeah, we've got the Senate,
He won't have to
there.
with Trump in there.
Yeah, that's true. He won't. There is just something about having America First in positions of
Because
power.
Hobbs is going to have to
And
deal.
I
Not your
agree.
border.
There is a potential, because she said there was a rally that she gave, Kari Lake, where she was talking about her pet project. And, obviously the border is a big thing for her, dealing with the fentanyl crisis. These are big deals for her, right? But her pet project was making sure that those who received the licensing to be considered news, to have their broadcasting and all the rest of it on cable news networks, Obviously, we're seeing those issues with SNL and NBC because of what they did with with Kamala Harris on SNL, that her pet project is doing something about the media. And if she is going to be a Schlafly in this regard over, someone who's America first in positions of power as relates to being in office, because that's one of the things about Schlafly. She didn't have to be in office to stop the ERA. She just had to, convince hearts and minds. And Kari Lake has a lot of support
and have access to your president.
nationwide. Yeah, she's got a lot of support nationwide. She didn't have to be the governor. She didn't have to be the senator. She doesn't have to be a state representative. As it relates to making sure that the news media isn't pushing propaganda, because that was her background, it's possible that the Lord is telling her, being in office is not the path. I took you out of being an anchor. I took you out of the news to save it. And you don't have to be the person who saves it by being in office, because we do have the Senate. That's what's clear to us right now, is that we have the Senate. That's obvious. Yeah. And it seems like we're going to take home the Congress and the White House. It's going to be what happened in 2016. We've been saying that this is Rocky 2. I suspect we're going to win in a landslide. There is no doubt in my mind that we are going to win every position that counts when it comes to the Senate, the Congress, and the White House. We're winning. That's the case. We take home the majority where it counts. And so that's the wave everybody's talking about. Kari may not necessarily play a role in that.
On top of that, we're winning in governorships as well. I mean, we're at 27 governorships to their 23.
And
so I mean, we're
winning
doing
in
good.
governorships, I think Ron DeSantis showed the power of what it means to be a governor when we saw what happened during 2020. Kristi Noem, I think, was the perfect governor. And I mean perfect in every sense of the word.
I
She's
agree.
the only state
Honestly, America doesn't deserve her.
Yeah, I mean, well, no, I think America
it's
does,
because of how the American people were treating her because she shot a Cujo. I'm like, seriously, we care that she shot a Cujo?
I don't think that was the majority. I don't think that was the majority at all. Black people did not care that she shot a Cujo. No, Black people didn't care. It's going to stop her from being the VP pick. Okay, but Black people did not care that she shot a dog because that dog was crazy as hell. No one is mad when you kill Cujo. Black people specifically. Oh, it was a puppy. It was killing the chickens. It was killing the cows. It attacked her kids. It attacked her. It didn't matter. Judge Jeanine Pirro was saying, oh, she killed the dog. Yeah, Black folks didn't care, because when B. Tatum talked about it, and what's your point? When the conservative perspective talked about it, and what's your point? Black people didn't care that she killed a freaking Cujo. We didn't care. It's going to cost you because Black Americans don't have the majority and don't have such a large number in the vote that it really mattered, because if there was enough of us to say we don't care that she killed Cujo, she'd be the VP pick instead of JD Vance. It's just as simple as that. I think Americans do deserve her. It's just the loudest voices get in the way of that. And I think that's exactly what's happening with Kari Lake. That woman deserves to be in office. The same way Judge Jeanine Pirro deserved to be the attorney general, right, for New York. The same way she deserved to win a position in power when she ran for office, but she didn't win. She ran for office how many times and didn't win? But when you were running locally, you won. When it was going,
I would have to agree with you on that, because I look at Kari Lake the same way I look at Judge Jeanine. You can't run for office. You have to be appointed, because the job we know that they can accomplish as America first individuals. Judge Jeanine a little bit America first, because she still wants to be involved in Israel, which honestly I don't want to be. And it's
Kamala Harris is in the lead for Arizona, 50.7 to 48.5%. It's like he was just in the lead for this freaking state. They're just
are you kidding?
It's
1:30 with NBC. It's like they're fucking cheap freak. Excuse my language, people. I'm tired.
Like, why?
And now they're saying that she's winning.
Arizona in this particular area, he's up. So for total 68, he keeps changing the damn numbers. He's going through different counties. Different counties. He's up 53.4.
So he went through different counties of
He's going through different counties.
Yeah, because even Fox News is showing that
This is
This
pissing me
isn't
off.
making any kind of sense right now. It is pissing me off because he should be winning that by a
How is
landslide.
he
They
winning?
should be
And
calling
Kari
this.
Lake isn't. It doesn't make sense. So we're saying that Trump gets the president. Like right. Like we're Kari to go. Like even they're saying like this doesn't make. They're pissing me off. Asia, making me mad. Making me mad. Making me mad. They want us to fall asleep so we don't see what they do. They thought we were gonna fall asleep. It's 1:30.
They
I'm staying
do.
up. I'll be tired in the mofo by tomorrow.
And
but
everybody's still like, I'm telling you, like, if you check your YouTube right now, you're gonna see Trish Reagan is still up watching, is still covering it. Megyn Kelly is still up looking at this. Like, you're gonna see that everybody is still engaging with this. And it's like, what is going on that they have not called these states yet? Like, it
I
makes like
know.
it's not making sense that they haven't called this yet. Like they should be calling Nevada, Arizona, and Pennsylvania. Like what's taking so long? Like the entire
really
blue
should.
wall should be called right now.
It really should. And they're just
This
not
entire
calling
wall
it.
should
They're
be
not
called.
calling none of them. And it's like, we know what you're doing. You know you lost. Just
Like
freaking
you're
say
trying.
it. Just freaking say it. Just like, like there are certain states, they're gonna, Kamala Harris is the projected winner for New Jersey. Yeah, no one is surprised. Okay, no one's surprised. You can call New Jersey.
Like,
No
you're
one is
cheating.
surprised. Why haven't you called Kamala Harris for New Jersey yet? Like he's not winning that. We're not surprised. We're not. But now is the time to be calling. It's 1:30, and they're just trying to have this go on even further. We know what the heck is going on here.
Pretty much.
There's no reason. There is no reason that we don't have a clear winner right now. There is no reason that we don't know who the winner is. Kari Lake,
Where PBD
Rubin,
is doing
Trump.
it. Like you have
the longer the vote
PBD
count
is live.
takes.
Kamala Harris is live. Trish Reagan is live. They're all covered. I don't think I think really there's too many people that are on top of it. This is not like 2020 where no one was covering it at all.
We will be tired
It's
at
like
work next day.
we're all ready for it.
Like, because we know that you're trying to steal the election. Just freaking say it. They look scared. Like, you can see the look on their faces. Like, I don't know if we're going to be able to pull this off. That's their eyes. Like, yeah, you're not. We're awake. We can see what you're doing.
So just call it.
Call it. Okay? Just call it. Okay? That's it. If Rubin won, say it. I'm going to need you to say it now. Why haven't you said Rubin won this? It is 1:30 on this side.
This is like starting to piss me off. Like the Associated Press refuses
to say one thing
call
or the
Pennsylvania,
other.
call Arizona. Like call it. Just call it. Like
And
even in Alaska, he's up by like 20 points here.
Call
these states.
I think the reason why they're not calling is because they know how important Arizona is. He wins Arizona, that's it for them. He wins Arizona, he wins Pennsylvania, that's it. He's already won Georgia.
Because what is it? Arizona is what 11 points, and he's at is 11 electoral, and he's at
Arizona is saying
247.
only 51% of the votes have been reported
Of
into
the votes
this
were
already.
counted.
It's like, what do you mean? 51%?
Only counted that much.
30 in the morning, 12:30 most likely on their
Yeah, they're
end.
saying they said they have 51.1% expected vote. That's how much they've only counted. They've only counted 51.1.
But then I look at Florida, 98. I look at Georgia, 94% was called or was unreported. In Michigan, only 64%. North Carolina, 98.
Pennsylvania,
Nevada,
you're right.
75.
They should be calling
PA,
Pennsylvania. She is not
91%.
catching up.
It doesn't make sense that in
she's not catching
Pennsylvania, 91% of the votes are in, and still they have not called it. In Wisconsin, 88% has been reported in for the votes. 51.4% for Donald Trump.
Because they know if he
Wisconsin
takes Arizona,
because,
let's look at the numbers, right? Let's look at these numbers. He's at
Mhm.
247. And remember, I said he doesn't need Pennsylvania to win. She does. So let's not even include Pennsylvania in his numbers. Arizona is 11 electoral votes. They are already looking at the fact that he could be. Wisconsin is looking towards his, and they already counted 87% of those votes. So let's say he wins Wisconsin, that's another 10 votes. So let's just count that so far to 247. That's 8, 4, 5, 6. That brings him to 268. Okay, so we really would just have to wait for like Alaska at that point. Alaska's 3 electoral votes. He's up by like 15% in that state. He takes Alaska, that's 3 votes. He wins 268 plus 3 electoral votes. This is done. She could take Pennsylvania and Michigan at that point, but they and Arizona because we would have already won, right? He just needs Wisconsin, which is again 10, the 11 from, well, no, he would need Arizona and he would need Wisconsin because he's leading in those 2. And then Alaska. He gets those 3, he wins. He takes Michigan and Wisconsin, 15 and 10 to his 247. He wins. He wouldn't even need Alaska or Nevada or Pennsylvania. He's got multiple pathways to win. So the fact that they are deliberately holding back from actually counting this and calling these states, it's like you're deliberately not calling it because you know this could be over. He doesn't actually need Pennsylvania to win. Call Alaska, call Wisconsin, call Nevada and Michigan and Arizona. You, like I said, if you focus primarily on, I'm just going to try and I'm going to make this a full layout so people can see a little bit more of it. Again, she's the one who needs Pennsylvania. He does not. If he takes Alaska, which is, like I said, 3 electoral votes, if he takes Arizona, which is 11, and then he takes Wisconsin, which is 10. Right? So what is that? That is 24 electoral votes. He already has 247. I'm doing long-handed math, people, so bear with me. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, the 1, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's 271. I haven't even included Pennsylvania in that count. I literally just looked at Alaska, Arizona, Arizona, and Wisconsin. You take those 3 states. She could have Nevada. She can have Pennsylvania. She would not be beating him. He would have the 270 that he would need to be the president. Now, let's say we went a different route. Let's say he takes Michigan and Nevada, right? Nevada has 6. Michigan has 15 electoral votes, 6 and 5. 11, that's 21 votes to his 247. Sorry, again, longhand, 4, 5, 6. That's 268. He would just need Alaska for the 3. Again, that brings him up to 271. So there are ways for him to have the multiple pathways to he can have multiple pathways as long as he takes home Arizona. He has to win Arizona if he's going to have multiple pathways outside of Pennsylvania. He would need that. If he wins Pennsylvania,
I would
then
say,
he doesn't necessarily
so it
need
says
Arizona because
Trump is up
he could just all he
2
would have to
points.
do was tear down that blue wall.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing, because I did look at some polls earlier, well, not so much polls, but looking at the numbers, and it was saying, I believe it was either the Associated Press was one of the things that I was watching, and it was saying that Trump was up on Kamala Harris in 6 out of the 7 battleground states. From the way that the map was looking, both from what you were showing me, what I was seeing, that he was beating Kamala in Wisconsin, which that is exactly what happened in 2016. You know, he took Wisconsin from Hillary Clinton, which was suspect, which, you know, that was a big deal, right? If he can take Wisconsin and, of course, Michigan, that's a big deal. I think she's going to take home Michigan, though. That Michigan might be the thing. But even when I look at the Arizona thing, you know, Trump's at 50%. She's at 49.1%. The fact that they haven't called those numbers yet is kind of outrageous. We know Trump won this. They're just refusing to call it. This is a question of how much of the America First movement they want in there. I do feel slightly better after talking to you on this live about Kari Lake, that even if she doesn't win, doesn't mean that it's the end of Kari. I do suspect that she could have a place in this this movement politically as it relates to working with the Trump campaign when it comes to the news outlets. I think one of the reasons why we like our Real Life Justice League is that,
You know,
every
oh
single
my
person that
gosh,
Trump
I
has
know her
chosen,
role
from
in the Trump.
RFK to
I know
Elon to
her
Tulsi
role.
Gabbard, everybody is passionate
I
about
know
a
what her role
specific
is.
issue.
She is the press secretary, and then for like the first 2 years, and then she takes that, you know,
Mhm.
national
I
level
personally,
of
I
work
don't,
and use that to America first. Well,
I
the
don't
reason why
see
I
her
think is I think it
as
would
the
be good
press
for her to
secretary. I
be.
see her in the role
I
of
think she
looking
would
at
be great there.
well, here's the reason why I don't think that I would want her to be the press secretary. I think that with Elon doing the audits of the federal government and looking at where, especially after
Mm,
the Twitter files came out, looking at where we saw correspondence, especially because of what we know about the Operation Mockingbird,
between
where
government and
exactly
the
has the
media.
federal government have embedded agents into our mainstream media so that way they can produce propaganda? At what point did we say propaganda was legal to tell the American people? How
So what are
can
you
what we
saying her
can
role could be in that regard?
I think that by having someone who understands, why it's important to not put your bias out there. Well, to be honest about your bias, but to be clear about what the other side's views are, to not be pushing propaganda, but only the facts. Between her work, her experience, and Elon's audits, I think we could 100% expose Operation Mockingbird, show where the problems are in the mainstream media, and because she's from it, she can say, yeah, this is how it's supposed to work. And Elon's audits will say, yeah, this is what it's been doing. Her experience will say, yeah, no, that's not right. Well, this is why we got to get
I
rid of
get
it,
it.
according to
You're
Elon.
saying
The two
she
of them
would be like
combined on the
the
mainstream
civilian
media.
that comes.
Yeah,
So are
I
you saying
think,
she's like the civilian that comes in to get the scoop with the Justice League, if you will? Like she's the Lois Lane that comes in to get some information about how the
yes,
JLA is
Carly
dealing
Lake
with
is
the
Lois
selection
Lane.
of Lex
That is
Luthor.
perfect. That is perfect. She is Lois Lane. That is it. And she doesn't take home a Senate seat. She is Lois Lane. The audits from Elon, coupled with her experience in the mainstream media, plus with new media being made available. I mean, if she's a combination of real life Schlafly and fictional Lois Lane, coupled with Elon
Oh, that's gonna
Musk's
be great.
audits, we will be able to uproot propaganda in America. We'll be able to expose the federal government
Mhm.
on Operation Mockingbird and remove these agencies out of the entertainment and the news media. That's going to do a lot for education. It's going to do a lot about informing the American people. And that might prevent these, 50 million, as T Mac just has in your comments over there that you showed earlier, saying that 50 million people
Yeah.
were choosing abortion rights over something else because they believed a lie. How many Americans are believing a lie because they believe in the propaganda? They believe a lie because they're told to believe a lie. You believe the nonsense because you were told to believe the
You know what
nonsense.
has me
You
so
weren't just
crazy about
captured
that is
and
that for
assimilated. You chose to be assimilated.
right.
But with
This
Kari,
is one
oh
of
my
the things
gosh,
that get on my nerves about
she
those
amazing. She's
individuals
amazing.
specifically is that they really think that she could do something. Let's say Kamala Harris was going to win. At this rate, we would have the House and the Senate. No one in the House and the Senate is passing any laws to federalize abortion.
Got me going with that
So,
Lois Lane
what the
even.
hell do y'all think that Kamala Harris? What do y'all think Kamala Harris is going to do if she were to win? Absolutely nothing. She's going to pass an executive order, which would get challenged the very next day in the Supreme Court. So, what are you talking about? This lie that they all bought into, I'm going to save women's rights. She's not saving women's rights. She's helping to destroy them. But that's neither here nor there, right? Neither here nor there. It's simply mostly that she knew she can convince a lot of Americans, not the majority, but a lot of Americans across this country that she would be able to accomplish the destruction of pretty much the American Republic. And I'm so tired of people saying democracy because it isn't. It is a republic. And people have to understand just because if she were going to win, she wasn't going to be able to do anything about, undoing the decision, the Dobbs decision, and undoing the Roe v. Wade. There was nothing that she can do about it. But she was so convincingly to these 50 million. And that is what really has me going, folks, because I'm trying to figure out how the hell were y'all convinced? She wasn't convinced. Cardi B, really? Lizzo, J Lo, Beyonce, these people convinced you that she was gonna save America? Like, really, come on. And honestly, I don't even think I can even give credit to these celebrities or to Kamala Harris, ladies and gentlemen. I don't buy it. I just think that majority of the 50 million people that are voting for Kamala really just hate Trump. It's got absolutely nothing to do with how qualified Kamala Harris is, how good how good they think she is. I think they think she's bad for this country. They just hate Trump more. And that's the problem. And this is what happens when you find yourself dealing with bunch of ignoramus lefties who refuse to acknowledge that the way that they think and the way that they vote is hurting the country. It's hurting it. And we were having a conversation earlier on Archie's live, and we were talking about if we were to break out into a civil war, would this hurt the founding of our nation? And I got to say, I'm not one of these people who believe that. I think that that's something that's necessary. Our government has gotten far too out of control. They are as bad as the British monarchy when this nation was created. And that's why we have the First and Second Amendment, to speak truth to the power that is the monarchy. In this case, it is the government of our republic. And the Second Amendment, so if necessary, we can go to war with that government because they are out of control. I don't know who the hell Palpatine is, but they are definitely like Empire Strikes Back, and they're after us. And that's why Trump is a big deal. And one of the things that I loved so much from Donald Trump's from the RNC was Madeline Bream, where she pretty much quoted Trump, where she said, Trump was right when he said, "They're after us. I'm just standing in the way." And that was one of the best lines that happened at the RNC. It moved me. And the reason why it did was because very well, like, look at how the elite Democrats talk about conservatives. And they've been doing it for decades, but it definitely shows me that you look at him like an obstacle to us. You look at us like subjects. You look at us like we're less than, that we are nothing, that we're nothing but just a bunch of people to buy your swag, listen to your music, and it be in awe of you. But when we want better for ourselves, you're a bunch of little nothings. And that's why it's like, this is why we believe him when he says they're after us, because look at how you talk about us. I mean, you've been doing it for decades, but it just makes it perfectly clear that when he says you're after us, I believe him.
A few days ago, I saw a clip of a Ronald Reagan speech. They were cross-cutting between Ronald Reagan and Kamala Harris. And in the thumbnail title, it said, "Ronald Reagan warned us about Kamala Harris." Now, of course, these videos usually say they warned us about President Obama, they warned us about Biden, things like that. But I was so intrigued by what Reagan was saying, not so caught up in the cross-cutting of how he warned us about Kamala, but there was something that he was saying in the speech that I went looking for the whole speech. And this was when he was pretty much endorsing Goldwater. So this was years, right? I don't know if anybody remembered the CPAC speech of Kristi Noem, where she was saying the Goldwater loss brought Reagan. And we're seeing that with the Joe Biden so-called win, that the Trump loss of 2020, the Trump loss of 2020 is about to bring back Trump in 2024. But in that speech of Reagan's, he was going into the fact that, okay, you say you are creating a war against poverty. You created all these programs. All this money is going into these programs. Explain to me how you haven't ended poverty between people's jobs and the money you're giving them. It doesn't make any sense that they are not able to live the lives that they want to live. Doesn't make any sense. Why haven't we audited you? Why don't we know where the money is going? You have to explain yourselves, and you don't think that we deserve any kind of explanation. And part of that is because they don't look at us as citizens. Reagan also went into in that speech that the government refers to the people as the masses, not the people, the masses. No, we don't refer to ourselves as the masses. We refer to ourselves as we the people. So why don't you? A government in America, that is, anyhow, has a power that it has because of we the people. You only have power because we give it to you. The moment the government thinks that it has more power over the people, you've got something to be concerned about. The only reason why they haven't been able to go completely bat sugar honey iced tea crazy on us is because of the Second Amendment. You'll listen to those every time there is a violent shooting, a terrorist attack, a transgender decides to go after free civilized individuals with guns. They want to say we should take away military grade guns and stuff like that. But no, maybe we should stop enabling the crazy. Maybe we should stop enabling the criminality. Maybe we should do something about the bad rather than going after the peaceful, law-abiding citizens. What do my supporting gun ownership have to do with a sick, crazed female who says she's a dude killing Christian children? What does that have to do with my owning guns? She's the one that killed the Christian children, not me. When we talk about overreaching government, it was President Obama who nearly went to war with American citizens over cows. But that's the thing. Something that seems so petty, killing a person over a horse, over a car, over a cow, seems like nothing. Why they went after Christy Noem for shooting a Cujo? Oh, she killed a dog. You mean a dog that killed the livestock that provides the livelihoods of the neighboring farmers and cattle ranchers next door? You mean the fact that Noem killed the dog that attacked her kids, her and her neighbor's livestock? Like, we want to sit here and pretend like we love these television shows. Oh, we love Kevin Costner and Yellowstone. But the second you actually get a taste of reality, now all of a sudden it's a problem. I'm sick and tired of hearing young people say to me that, oh, I can't do something because of a Biden economy. And I can't say that that isn't true. I can't say that they're not having a hard time. Heck, I've been having a hard time because of, I applied to all these jobs. It's been over a year. Why am I not hearing back? I can't make money unless they say you're hired. This is becoming a real problem. When Reagan has said this is a problem, it is now the 21st century. We are $35 trillion in debt. The government has gotten way larger since the Reagan days of him endorsing Goldwater. We're not even talking about when he was the president. Television was black and white. Goldwater was running against either JFK or he was running against LBJ.
I have to say,
these are problems.
When I think about when people
got to make this make sense, and it doesn't.
When I think about people who are who complain about how expensive things are today, and I know that they're Biden voters, it definitely bothers me to the utmost, simply because it is a fact that they were warned. And we tried for years not to say I told you so, but it's like, isn't, but it's like, that is the internal battle between being Christian and being an America first individual. Like, that's the duality of a Christian supremacist American, right? America first conservative is that I'm a constitutionalist, but I'm also a monarchist. And I'm finding it really difficult to not say I told you so to those who voted for someone I knew would destroy my country. Because the Christian thing to do would be to help them deal with how bad things are, when all I want to say is I told you so. And for years, we've been having these conversations with individuals about how bad things are. I do want to continue our conversation, but I do want to drop a sponsor in here real quick. Ladies and gentlemen, we have entered the season of perpetual hope. We are past Halloween. They're playing the Christmas music. If you guys are interested in being of service, I will be dropping the Roots Retreat House donation link in the comment section later on in the live. You guys know how these things go, that when the live ends, the comments disappear. So I will be posting it later on after the live, mostly in the morning. But if you guys are interested, like I said, if you can't donate your time in your own state, head over to Roots Retreat House, donate your dollars, and help us provide some kind of aid to anyone who is suffering from homelessness, who's having any kind of food insecurity. That would just be wonderful. If you're not willing to wait for the link, you guys, you can head over to Cash App and add and just send me whatever you can to Asia Sade 1. That is my cash tag. Please, if you are looking to be of service, Asia Sade 1 is my cash tag. If you're not willing to wait for the Roots Retreat House link by the morning, we would love you guys help. You're trying to raise at least $1,000 this holiday season. We've raised about close to $400, just trying to reach our goal. before the holiday season. It would be greatly appreciated. I do want to jump back into that conversation with Archie, with some of the conversations we've had with the Biden voters who still went on to vote for Kamala Harris. Now, I've had conversations with the Biden voters, specifically here in Dallas, and they did not convert. They were willing to because they couldn't stand her cackle. But then she dropped this information about how she was going to give money for down payment to buy a home. And they believe her. They believed her when she said that this would be for Black people. And I said to them, why do you think this is going to go to Black people when we saw in Chicago $50,000 went to illegals to buy business and to buy homes? Why do you think this is for you? And I just want to know, what were some of your conversations like? I mean, really, we're really just waiting to get some more updates. I'm gonna, like I said, I'm hanging into at least.
So I'm looking at the screen for the NBC screen. I'm assuming it's probably the same with the Fox. I can't really see. I can't see it at the moment. I can't see it. But the NBC thing that says that Trump will speak to supporters at the campaign headquarters in just a few minutes. Soon he'll speak to the supporters, and it's reminding me a lot of 2020.
Oh, really? I may broadcast that.
It's saying that Trump is going to speak to supporters soon, and it's really pissing me off because it said the same thing about Dave McCormick. Now, Rob Bresnahan was able to announce victory. Dave McCormick, on the other hand, it said that he was going to speak to supporters soon. It didn't say that he was going to address about the victory. It's not saying with Trump that he's going to address the victory for the presidency. It just says that he's soon going to speak to supporters at campaign headquarters. And this is reminding me a lot of what happened in 2020. I stayed up. I looked at the screens. We were looking at the numbers. We're seeing that they're not getting people. They're just not counting. Well, we need 12 votes. Explain to me how Georgia was able to get this in. Florida. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. It does and it doesn't. Like, the math does not math. And the only reason why it's not is because the votes have not been entirely counted. You've had how many hours, how many days? You had early voting in. We saw what happened with Georgia's early voting, which is why we were able to count those plus what happened tonight. Explain Arizona. Carby Lake, the Republicans are doing very well in Arizona. She was fluctuating between being in the lead, not being in the lead. So there was a good chance that she was going to actually win this. You know, even if she doesn't, I'm okay because we've kind of established that she's a Lois Lane in this. But why haven't we declared that Trump is the winner? It's 2:00 in the morning and we still do not have a winner. It does.
Right.
It's 2:00, yo. It's 1:52 on my end here in Pennsylvania. Dave McCormick, what did the headline say for NBC? He's going to soon address the supporters at his campaign headquarters. It did not say anything about a victory. But with Rob Bresnahan for Congress, it said victory.
Yeah, and you know,
that was at like 12 o'clock. That was at like 11
what I find highly ironic? Do you remember when Fox News called Arizona like at 9:30?
Yeah.
Like,
and it's just
now we're waiting till 2 a.m.
It's making me mad. And you know, there's no way they don't know that people are watching. They know that we're watching. Okay. You have to make this make sense. Why is it I refreshed the screen so many times just to see if there's going to be any difference? It still says for Arizona only
update though,
50.
ladies.
Sorry, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I do have an update. It looks like the Associated Press is showing Trump at 248. This is on their website, not listed here through the Google listing. Oh, yes, they do have it here. So he's up 248. Looks like, I can't tell what other state they called.
I can't
because you know I don't understand. Like, how are you at 94.3% count in Pennsylvania and you still can't call it? Michigan, they're at 68%. 88% in Wisconsin, and he's in the lead. Nevada, they're at 77.
What is Michigan
counted? He's got the lead.
Go back to Michigan.
Michigan is at 68.1%, and he's in the lead.
You see what I'm saying? When I look at Michigan,
it's like
they're saying,
it's too close to call.
We mean too close. It's in the 60s to her 40s.
I'm like, come on.
Like, you got to make this make sense.
No. So they've counted 68% of the votes. He's in the lead at 52.3%.
Why haven't you called this?
46.
Right. Okay. So now this is
They
the thing
should be
about it,
calling
because when you and I were talking about 2020, we were talking about the numbers, why it takes so long, and you asked me about the Biden voters, and
Mhm.
some of them are willing to change, some of them are just going to be consistent. Did you get the chance to vote for Kamala Harris over Joe Biden? I got to vote for Trump over Ron DeSantis, Nikki Haley, Tim Scott, Vivek Ramaswamy, and so many other candidates. I had the opportunity of voting for other people outside of Trump. Did you get the opportunity to do with Kamala Harris? You didn't. You didn't. She was selected. The fact that Biden voters who are now voting for Kamala Harris are okay with that, but they're the ones to call Trump the fascist. Wait a minute. You didn't vote for Kamala. So how is our side the fascist?
Sure.
That's the first thing. The second thing, when we were talking about 2020, this is exactly what happened. So earlier on my life, we were having a conversation with somebody who doesn't think this election matters, who says that if Trump doesn't win and Kamala does, somehow there's something wrong with us. Yet it is 2:00 in the morning, and that number for Arizona has not changed for over an hour. It is still at that 51% of ballots
Right. Like
reported.
1
It
hour
doesn't
has
make
gone
sense.
by
You
and
have
you
to make sense
still
out of
at
this.
what is
Right.
this number?
You have to
They're
make sense out of this.
still at
People-
51.4 counted.
Right. It's
Like,
been
how?
over
It's
an
been an
hour.
hour.
It's been over an hour. It's been over an hour, and you still have not gotten more than 51% of
And
those
right
votes in
now,
there. And
I'm
you need
tuned
12
into
days to
Fox
count.
News
We just
YouTube
had this
channel.
conversation with a person earlier today. We spoke about this in 2020. Now, 2020, they didn't believe us. Okay. He was the moderate. Okay. It was
Yeah.
Rocky won. The judges said Apollo got this, even though Mickey,
Oh,
Rocky,
snap. John Boy is
Adrian,
in the audience.
awesome sauce.
What I'm
But
gonna
now
do
you
is
had
I'm gonna take the map off, and because we're
yeah.
gonna be waiting for Trump to come
Trump to give
on
his
the
remarks. Yeah.
stage.
But now here's the thing about it, right? So you had,
Yeah. In the
this,
meantime, why don't you tell people how they can support your channel when you finish your point?
you got it. We were saying these things in 2020. They didn't believe us because Joe Biden was the moderate Democrat. It took how long for Megyn Kelly to go from, oh, there was no cheating, to, okay, there was some cheating, but not enough to change the outcome of an election. You're watching it happen again. Now, granted, because of the work that Lara Trump has been doing, I think we got this in the bag. But why haven't you called Arizona? Because they've been preparing us for months now that the pathway to the White House is through Pennsylvania. Why is that? Why is it? Because you looked at the numbers, it's clear he doesn't necessarily need Pennsylvania to win this. If he gets Wisconsin, if he gets Arizona, Michigan, if he gets these 3 states, he may not need, and Nevada, of course, and Georgia, which he has already. They declared it was Trump's. He doesn't need Pennsylvania. Not to say that he doesn't want it, but hey,
Yeah,
we
it's
know
like I
that there's some
said, he
funny
doesn't need
business going on.
Pennsylvania if he wins Michigan, Arizona, Alaska.
Right.
If he wins
those 3,
Wisconsin, Nevada, Michigan, and
right.
Alaska.
He doesn't need
He's got
Pennsylvania.
4 ways of winning.
Right. Where
3 of
it is
them don't
her that
include
needs it.
Pennsylvania.
Why has the media been saying the pathway to the White House is through Pennsylvania? And it's not just the leftist media, right? We're also talking about Fox News. They've been saying the same damn thing. You and I were talking about this earlier. I think he needs Pennsylvania. I think he needs Pennsylvania. That's why it was so important for me to get out there and vote. If the pathway to the White House is through Pennsylvania, I need to get out there and vote, because if this is the state, we need to win this. And now I'm looking at the numbers that you showed me. Okay, it's not that I shouldn't vote,
Yeah.
but he may not need this state.
Really,
because he can win
the
other
thing
ones.
is, when it comes
Where
to
are the numbers?
Pennsylvania, like,
Yeah, and
in my opinion, the reason why
they
it was such
think
a
we're
big
crazy. They
deal
think
that
we're
he be
crazy.
there
They think that we are
was to
just
make us stop. She needs
Right.
it. So if I stop
They-
her,
they think we're
she's
crazy.
not winning.
They think we're conspiracy theorists.
Up.
They think that we're losing our mind. They
having
think that there's
some
something wrong with us. And
technical
it's like, no, I'm telling you,
difficulties.
it's a square, not a triangle. And you think I'm crazy for that. And if you're someone who knows the triangle, that it's a square and not a triangle, you can support my channel, support my show by Cash Apping me. You can see it there on the screen by Cash Apping me at Cashtag Arshell Branch. You can follow my YouTube channel at Arshell Financial, and you can follow me on Instagram at Archie Financial and on Twitter at Archie_finance. I'm a big supporter of helping young people find their way, let go of their entitlements, because we are very entitled as young people. We haven't really struggled the way that older generations have. And now that we're adults, we're seeing the struggle. The struggle is real. Life be lifing. The world is not fair, obviously, because They are cheating. We obviously know that. And I do want to be able to help people and support them when it comes to creating content. If you're a podcaster, I am a producer. I can help you organize your ideas, your thoughts to make it something that works. If you're a young person struggling to make sense out of your money, I can help you budget because I am a budget specialist. I can talk to you about the importance of investing into things like life insurance, looking up information when it comes to mutual funds. I can connect you to those things. As someone who's interested in helping young people, definitely reach out to my channel, support the show by Cash Apping me at #RchelleBranch, and reach out if you have any questions because, I think we got this in the bag, but I am getting infuriated when I look at more and more of these numbers. We are in the lead. We have this. It's Trump 24 all day. That's what's clear to me. But this should be a landslide win. And, it seems to me that we're going to have to win by the so-called few margin that we're going to win by, which we know was not the case, to really make some difference here. The numbers keep fluctuating. It's taking incredibly long for them to call it. Too early to call at 2:00 in the morning, 50% to her 49%. The longer the vote takes to count, the longer you shouldn't trust it. It took them how many days for them to say that Kari Lake didn't win? Okay. It's starting to piss me off. And it's quite possible that this is not, Kari's role here, that she's someone that needs to be appointed. If she's a Lois Lane, then she's someone that needs to be appointed. And that's okay. Okay. Because just because Lois wasn't in the Justice League does not mean she wasn't essential to making sure the Justice League stayed, on the right path. And that's something. Kari's got a role in this. And I do think as America First, we've got something to pay attention to. We're not crazy. This is, and it's the same thing. Asia, I'm telling you, because you went to sleep because you had to work the next day. I was told I was an unessential worker. I had nothing but time. This is exactly how it felt. I watched these numbers. Why didn't
This is
you have
exactly
the vote?
what happened. I went to sleep. He was in the lead,
Asia,
and
it's the same thing. It's the same thing. And I'm like, I feel like we've got this in the bag, but like I have got a pit in my stomach, and it's because of disgust. I'm pissed. There is no reason why we do not have a
they
clear
haven't called these
winner.
states.
It doesn't make sense, Asia. Doesn't make sense. Why
should be
is it the
calling
guy I
these.
voted for Congress can say he's got a victory, but Dave McCormick, the other guy I voted for Pennsylvania Senate, doesn't have a victory, but he's addressing the people? Donald Trump should be the clear winner for Pennsylvania. He's about to come out and give a speech. This is exactly what happened in 2020.
Because now let's go with that, right?
Okay.
Let's assume Trump actually
thing.
does win Pennsylvania. And
Like,
remember, I
my
only
leg
covered
is
like
shaking.
two
I'm
of the
mad.
I covered like 3 of those pathways. He's at
I'm mad right now.
248, right? We went up to 248. So he's at 248
early
now.
to
He takes
call at
Pennsylvania,
2
and
o'clock in the morning.
Pennsylvania is 19 electoral votes. So let's look at that. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. Carry the 1, 4, 5, 6. That's 267. Literally, he would just need Pennsylvania and Alaska, which is leaning in his favor, by the way. So he would have what he would need, and he would be at the 70, the 270 that he would need. He literally just needs Pennsylvania and Alaska. They should just be making these calls. They know that. And so they're deliberately holding back, I feel like they are deliberately holding back everything that they need to in order to just cheat. Because you are totally right when you say that this is what's holding it up. This is what it was in 2020. I have some comments coming in. Let's look at some of them from Above, Beyond, and Forever. Thank you so much for joining this live. I am staying up well past my bedtime. I'm literally got to get up in like 3 or 4 hours. But let's go ahead and look at this comment. Hello, everyone. I hope he wins Pennsylvania. Some media outlets has called it for Trump. Thank you for telling me that, Above, Beyond, and Forever, because it's blowing my mind. I don't understand how the prediction market can show him winning 90% for that state, how they show that majority of these votes, when I go to the Associated Press map, and I do want to look at that number again. The Associated Press is pretty much telling us the exact same thing, that he's got this in the bag, that 90% of these votes have been counted in Pennsylvania. 94% of these votes have been counted, and he's up in the lead at 51%. This should be called. But they're saying, oh, it's a small margin. It's at 48.1% to his 51%. It's too close to call. You should be calling this. You have less than 6% of votes left to be counting. You should be calling this for Trump. It's the same thing in Michigan, okay? 70% of the votes are counted and he's up at 52 to her 45. This should be called. Wisconsin, another one, 88% votes have been counted, 51.3% to Trump, to Kamala Harris, 47. They should be calling this. I look at Alaska. They should already be calling Alaska. Okay, I know people are saying, oh, well, there's only 26% of the vote counted so far. Yeah, but he's up 20%. This hits 50% of the vote and he's still up by 40%, by 40 points. You should be calling Alaska. Nevada, he's up by, again, like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 51, 5%. He's up by 5 points in Nevada with 78.7% of the votes counted. He's going to win every swing state. And they know that that's the case. And they're thinking that the American public is going to be full of it. Now, I'm going to bring Arshel back on because she seems very, very excited over there. And I don't know why.
He just got Pennsylvania. Like, work. Get your act
you.
together.
Yes,
272 B words. You already know. He just got Pennsylvania playing freaking games, getting on my damn nerves, yo. They're getting on my nerves.
Right.
Yo,
like they were killing
games.
me.
They just got Pennsylvania.
Who called that?
Projected
Who
winner
called
for
it?
Pennsylvania.
Who
NBC
called
just called it. They just called it. Pennsylvania for NBC just called Pennsylvania Trump projected winner. Okay, so
248 plus 19. I remember.
What is the winning number? 270.
17. Carry the 1. 4, 5, 6. I'm like, he needs to win Alaska. This is over.
That's it. That's all he needs.
Over.
Yo,
that's it.
Got
3 more.
This is
that's
ours.
it. Donald Trump
freaking
is the
games.
next president. That's it.
We already
I'm going
know.
to bring
We
up this
already
map
know.
now, ladies and
I
gentlemen.
can't wait for this
He
dude to
needs
wake
3.
Up, yo. I can't wait. Yo, Asia.
Oh.
Yo. Yo.
We're going
Above,
live
beyond, and
tomorrow, and we are
forever,
talking so much
It's
Choco.
so sick.
And you know what?
Oh,
And
we
the
saved
Associated
America
Press still not
tomorrow.
calling it. They still not calling it.
Of course
It's
they
like,
not.
right,
Of course
like
they
y'all
not.
were waiting for what? Like, what are
We
you waiting
were
for? Like
94% of the vote in.
94.8%, 95%. Right?
Yo,
95% of the vote is in. Call this sucker.
Word.
Call it. And they still
Call
have
it.
it. Let me
You already
refresh
know.
this map. Let's see.
You
if
already know.
Associated Press
He needs
catches up.
Alaska. That's it. That's it.
They just
call
don't wanna call it
Arizona.
the Associated Press.
Like, word, because Arizona's going to play because they don't want Kari in there. That's why they're not going to call Arizona, because they don't want Kari in there, because the numbers are still the damn same with Arizona, and it's pissing me off. I was getting you saw me. I was getting mad, and I'm still upset. I know we're going to take this home. He's going to do the work to make sure that we actually pull these numbers correctly, because the numbers is at 52% for Ruben Gallego.
And you know what's crazy? You know what other states they haven't called? They haven't even called Maine yet. Like, that's another shocker. Maine is usually, I mean, it's usually like a flip flop there, but Maine has not been called yet. That was a bit of a shocker.
Let's get it. The Justice League is about to do its job. Justice League of America is about
I
to do
know,
its
like
thing.
I need the Associated Press to call this.
Secure our elections.
He's at
secure our borders.
Okay, so the Associated Press has him at 248. NBC had him at 247 and added Pennsylvania, which puts him at 266. So he does need more than just Alaska, because Alaska would just bring him to 269,
Nevada,
and he was only one.
We already know he's winning Nevada. Like, we already
but he gets
know.
Nevada.
Like, they're playing games. They playing games.
We
like,
do.
you know he's winning Nevada. Like, yo, just call this. It is 2:00 in the morning. You know everybody's awake. They know everybody's awake. We ain't sleeping on you.
They know
like,
everybody's staying up this time.
Yo,
we ain't
going
to sleep.
Your viewers, you just saw me. I was
some
upset.
cheaters, yo.
Like, you had to take me off the screen. I needed a minute. Like, yo, I'm getting mad because I already know y'all playing games. The same thing happened in 2020. Okay. I was getting upset. And, you know, listen, if we could do what we got to do on the ground, we get our votes in early. The early voting, the mail-in ballots, we do what we got to do. We get them lawsuits in. I played that video on my live that the RNC, because Lara Trump is running that. We made sure we got our lawsuits in there. Illegals were not allowed to vote in certain elections because we made sure that that wasn't happening. We made sure that the right laws for the election were actually being followed. We made sure that we went past the margin on certain numbers to make sure that we got this. It didn't matter that Philadelphia is on some nonsense. Okay, we knew he wasn't going to get New Jersey, New York, California. We knew that it was looking competitive, but we already know, like, we know Trump wasn't going to get the majority black vote. We knew that. But the fact that we could take some of those numbers away from Kamala because of the men specifically, thank you, men. Just let me throw that out there. I know there are going to be some women who are going to say some stuff, but look, when men do their part, we do a lot.
And this is when men play your position. Like, that is my line for everything. You know what?
Men,
I have a couple of good ones, right? I mean, we're writers, so we have a couple of good ones a lot. But I got two favorites. Play your position is one of them. And victims of isms is another one. Those are my two. But play your position, and the men totally did that. And you're so right. We can say that men 45%.
Come on, call it. Michigan
you're
is
saying about that. That's what they're saying about.
They're saying
Michigan?
that Trump is at 52.3% on NBC to Harris 45.9%. Call this state
with 70% of the vote
51% to Harris 47%. Call it, okay, people. We already know this is a Reagan landslide here. Reagan numbers. We already know. Dude only won like single digit.
It's like his first. It's like his first presidency, because
we won't
the
see
second
Reagan
presidency
numbers.
he won.
We
It
won't
was
see
his
Reagan
opponent
numbers.
only had like.
Honestly, I don't even think we're going to see Reagan number. Well, we could, after Trump wins, fixes what's got to be fixed. And we got this in 2028 with possibly
when people see what it looks like when a government. I remember I was reading an article.
That's what
this
they're
was
saying.
Literally. That's what NBC is saying. Yeah, because you know why? NBC. I can't even believe I got to give credit to NBC here. Because NBC is counting votes as. Yeah, they're counting the votes as they come in and not trying to get her to keep up and not look like she's getting her ass kicked. Right? NBC seems to just be reporting the numbers as polls or as the count finishes.
Arizona,
and they don't want her to look like she got her ass beat. And I have to give NBC credit for that. But I do have to say I was reading an article. This was right after the Madison Square Garden rally, and this was an Elon Musk article. An article featuring Elon Musk, and he said in the article that in the first few months of the Trump administration, that Americans need to prepare for hardship because he intends to cut a lot of spending from the government, cutting some subsidies, cutting some of these government programs where people are receiving money in some areas. He's really specifically going to look at the EV, the Green New Deal subsidies, because we don't need those. Tesla is already doing well without them. He's looking at where the money is going, federal dollars going to the illegals. So that's a big deal too. But he wants to see where else they're spending, and it could cause hardship. And all the mainstream media was like, oh, they said it. Donald Trump is going to hurt the American public. And they expected that the American people would just totally shift and totally dislike what Elon was saying. And instead, the exact opposite is happening, because you look at what we're seeing on these maps. You're looking at what we're seeing in the prediction market with Polymarket and the numbers coming out from early voting. And what we're seeing happening exactly on election day. The one thing that we're noticing is that people are prepared for the hardships that come if it means government is going to shrink in size and get out of the way, and we can take advantage of a small government. We can take advantage of where government isn't involved. When he pulls regulation back, we can build those businesses. We can be in it. He can really look at these markets and look at the industry, see where the American public can benefit. But it will hurt in the beginning. And that's really, I think Elon is thinking that the American public, not that we can't handle it, but he's thinking that the spending he's about to cut is going to hurt us directly. And honestly, I don't think it will. I think we're going to find that 50 billion went to Bunny Boy,
Yep.
We're gonna
And that's
find
the
that
thing.
100
And that's the thing.
billion went to
Because
Zelensky, and
I
it's like
won't
the only effect that we felt from the spending was the rise in inflation. But
know
none
what
of that
makes him the
money
crowd.
was given to us, where we're gonna
Yeah.
cry if we lose the money. Because
Yeah.
well, we never got it. So what the hell are
Because
we crying for?
that's
What
the thing.
hardship?
And
I
you know,
never got the handout. It all went to the illegals. So what
right.
handout? What am I hurting for? So I
Because now
think the American
that's
public are actually looking forward to it, and that's part of the reason why you're
yeah.
seeing Trump's numbers look like
Because
this, and
that's why
why
they
he
don't
might
want to
actually
call
win the
these
popular
other
vote, not
races.
just the
You know,
electoral college.
honestly, you know what I think it is? I think because you have so many people who are going live today, who are going live right now, who have not gone to bed because we're paying attention to the numbers. This is what happened in 2020. We know what happened. It's the same damn
Too many
thing.
eyes are on it.
Word. Because, you know, some people had to get up and they had to work the next day. We've been looking, we've been paying attention, we've been seeing these numbers, and we're looking at it. I'm getting frustrated
You're
and
about
getting
to
upset.
have the darkest cup of coffee.
Yo, I'm
when
telling
I
you right
get up
now, the
and
second
sit
they
down.
say this guy is the winner, I am planning an inauguration party. It's going down. Okay. MAGA all day. That will be the discount code. I'm y'all playing games. Like, yo.
Oh, I wish I was there for that. I would seriously, you
Excuse
know
me.
what? I'm about to find out if our mom has any more, airline tickets
Because, like, yo,
that she can
listen,
help me with.
you know,
I would
I'm a
show
little,
up for an
you know,
inauguration party.
because they don't want to say he's the winner. They have not called Arizona, and they should. They have not called Wisconsin, and they should. This guy won in a landslide. We already know. We've already called it. We've already said
Yeah.
it. Joe Biden was the moderate until he so-called won. And then we saw what happened under Kamala Harris border, as the borders are, mad illegals. Okay. I'm tired of
Mhm.
being told I can't have a job because I don't speak freaking Spanish. No,
Yeah,
this
I'm
is
looking
America.
at
I'm
NBC's
tired
numbers,
of
right?
looking at states like Oregon and other states trying to give hundreds of thousands of dollars to illegals. You're kicking American students off of school buses to replace them with illegals so they can have the transportation. I'm sick and tired of that. The fentanyl crisis, all of those things that we're seeing just with the illegals. It makes no sense that a Black woman who served America, a veteran, okay, she was a veteran, was told that this illegal is going to be fronted thousands of dollars to buy her food truck. I covered this earlier in the year. Thousands of dollars to buy her food truck business because the government is going to front them the money. When she was denied by the banks, mind you, she served this country, okay? She was a minority as a Black person, as a female, which now DEI says we're going to prioritize. Where was that when she was trying to build her business and she served this country? Where was any of the so-called handouts, okay? Where was Obama on this? Where's Kamala on this, who said she was going to do nothing for Black Americans, right? Okay? She forgot about her Indian heritage. That broad is not Black. Stop being blackface. We want to talk about blackface being disrespectful. This woman is Indian, Irish, possibly Jewish, pretending to be Black. They won't call these numbers saying that she is not the winner. You won't bring in the actual votes. Arizona needs 12 freaking days to count. The longer the number goes on, the longer the count takes, the more you shouldn't trust it. The same thing happened in 2020. They say that we're crazy, yo. Okay. The Pennsylvania Supreme Court passed election laws. Last I checked, that's the legislation's job, not the Supreme Court. Where were they? Arizona, all these other states having pipe problems. Okay, I'll give you one state, one issue for one county, but multiple problems, that is not a coincidence. I don't believe in coincidences when you're a person of faith. I don't care what your faith is, okay? You could be a Satanist. Even the Satanists don't believe.
And you know what? I was saying that in
and now we're all awake.
word. I
Trish
was
Reagan,
saying
Megyn Kelly,
when I
BBD,
talk about
you and I, yeah, nah, I'm willing to stay up. I'll be
ABL
tired
is
as
awake.
hell
Brandon
tomorrow
Tatum,
filming
I
with
think,
my
is
podcast
covering it.
client. I'll be tired than a mofo.
Facts.
won
And
this,
I'm so glad that you and I
Playing
have
it.
different work hours, because I can't, like, I'm sitting here, I'm checking to see if Trump is about to come out on the stage. Like, I'm clicking in between this broadcast and YouTube Fox channel, because
What
I'm
song do
waiting
you
for
think
him to
you're gonna
come
cover
out
out to?
and
You already
say that
know.
I
I'm
won.
proud to be an
And
American. Where at least I
that
know
too, but
I'm
personally,
free.
at the you know what I wish he would play, and really, I wish he did it when he
Ain't got
had
the
Tom
left hand
McDonald
aim.
there. Like that was the perfect moment in
Word.
Madison Square Garden. The song to play was "You Missed." Like that was the
Word.
one.
Ain't
I
got the
mean,
left
it's
hand
Madison
aim. You
Square
got the right,
Garden.
don't right. Welcome to the home of a brave. You wish he was dying.
Freedom and
B word,
afraid
you
of dying. Bitch, you missed. Excuse my French. I'm sleepy and I'm up a little bit longer than I would have expected to. I'm trying to hang in there. Folks, I am hanging in. Like I am way past my bedtime. It's 1:19 where I'm at. Literally supposed to be getting up at 4 a.m. and to get to work. Luckily, Wednesdays are a little bit odd, so I lucked out for today. But I'm hanging in so that way we can bring you the numbers and the data, because they can't do to us now that they pulled in 2020. Everybody is covering this. Podcasters, content creators. I believe Anton Daniels is live with this now. You have Christian podcasts
Even
that are
Candace
covering
Owens
this now.
posted,
You know what's
it's
funny is
over
I was
Trump
yeah, she
2024.
did. Candace Owens. Exactly. Candace is on the PBD platform because she wasn't covering this on her own. She was invited to
Yeah, she just
PBDs
posted
and
on,
they're
I think, her
using
YouTube
their
community.
AI.
I think she just posted on her YouTube community.
Yeah, she did.
It's
She
over
took a
Trump
picture. Yeah,
2024.
she took a picture of VT News map and posted it because she's there. They're covering it right now. Trish Reagan is, Megyn Kelly, Anton Daniels, Brandon Tatum. Trump is taking this 2024. We know the only thing that we have to look out for is who's going to keep the majority of the House. The Associated Press is showing that the House is going to be leaning toward the Republicans. And even though it may not be America First led, they won't be able to push no impeachment if we have a supermajority. They won't be able to reject not certifying because they take their oaths before the next president. And that was one of the biggest concerns because Nancy Pelosi was pretty much hinting at the fact that she would tell Hakeem Jeffries to not certify. And it was important for the House to take the majority there. And so that was a big deal, that the House do go red. Even if it's not America First, we need you to certify this if Trump wins. Don't get caught up in no elitist uniparty nonsense. You better certify this election, period, because it's Trump all the way. We're super excited. And the thing is, everybody's covering. You cannot do to us now that you did in 2020. Everybody is aware of it. Everybody knows what you did. We all went to sleep. He was in the lead. We woke up. He cheated. That's why they're not calling Arizona. And the irony is, specifically from Fox News, is that they are the last ones to call any state. Every time I go to a Fox News map, they are the last ones. It is the slowest count out of all of them. And the reason why I say they're the slowest count, I think they are scared. Because look what happened to Chris, whatever his last name was. He's gone. I don't even remember his name. He can't survive in the podcast world. But even Brett Baer was like, people are pissed. They're saying you called it too early. He's like, we stand by our polls because y'all cheated. They cheated. And that was a thing. And now you can't do the same thing. And
Who's excited for
I am delirious.
Leftist TDS meltdowns?
I can't wait. That's gonna be tomorrow's live.
Kind of like Buzz Lightyear and Toy Story 2.
That's gonna be tomorrow. That's tomorrow's live.
I can't wait, yo. I can't wait, yo. I can't wait.
Live. I'm waiting for Joy Behar and Sunny Hostin. Those two witches.
Meltdowns are about to be amazing.
I can't wait.
And there's no football.
And I wonder what accent Kamala Harris is gonna whip out when she has to concede the race.
I wonder what accent she's her speech of "I lost."
She's gonna be like, "We lost, man."
Is she gonna be an election denier like some of us when it came to 2020? Like all right,
like the last woman that ran for office. Like the last woman that lost office.
When it's the conservative side, there's something wrong with us, but you can deny it and it's not a problem because Hillary Clinton was an election denier. Right. And remember, there was a Democrat, he got caught on the hot mic he was saying that if Trump wins, that they have something in store to ensure that he doesn't win. I'm paraphrasing here. But it was the same gentleman that when Candace Owens went to Capitol Hill, she had just said that you do this all the time. And he said, don't presume to say that I do this every time. She was in the blue jacket, the blue blazer. That was the it was
I
that
know who you're talking about. Yep.
yeah, that congressman. I want to be clear for your viewers that his name escapes me, but he was caught in the hot mic saying that they were going to do some stuff to make sure that Trump didn't get in there. So, as the president-elect, why have you and I been saying it's going to be civil war? Some people saying that we're being callous about it. It's like, no, we've just accepted the fact that we're at that point in history.
Oh, they just called another state. Which state was it? What just went?
Which was it? What are the numbers?
Not
Which one are the numbers?
Pennsylvania.
Please
What is it?
say Michigan.
He's at 267.
Which state was that? Do we know? Because if it's Michigan, oh my goodness, because the Wicked
was
Witch
he,
of
was
the
he
West,
already at 267?
he was at 266 according to NBC.
What was it?
I don't know.
Okay, so the Associated Press is saying that he's at 267. That's what they're saying. He's at 267 to her 214. That's what they're saying. Let's add this map in here. I'm going to make this the full layout so it's a little bit more clear, but they are saying, let me refresh this here because they're saying that he's at 267 now to 214.
Okay, I'll take
He's
it.
3 away. I wish they would just call. They had to have, what the hell did they call?
Yeah, they already know. He got this. Oh, Trump's on the stage.
Oh, he is? Okay, we are going to share the YouTube screen, folks.
Barron is tall as heck.
Share screen.
Let's go.
Share.
And I'm proud to be
Gonna
an
get
American.
Trump on.
What did he say? Where at least I know I'm free.
All right, let's see where we at. Come on.
Let's get it. We already know. We already
refresh
know.
this. What's going on? Of course, you guys are gonna give me an ad. Of course, they give me an ad right when he comes on.
I'm free. That's the song came out to. But you can rewind because I could barely hear it on this end. I had it turned down as low as possible just so I could look at the numbers.
Yeah, no, I have it muted because I got it. I have it.
It's
Yeah, I have it muted because of the ad.
No, I'm free.
2024. We did it. Oh, I can't wait for later today. Oh,
am I glad we stand up next to you?
Katie, you're the vice president. Oh, you gotta tell your grandma. You gotta tell his grandma.
Yeah, this is amazing. Just get it, Mr. President.
USA.
Well, thank you all very much. This is great. These are our friends. We have thousands of friends on this incredible movement. This was a movement like nobody's ever seen before. And frankly, this was, I believe, the greatest political movement of all time. There's never been anything like this in this country and maybe beyond.
Yeah.
And now it's going to reach a new level of importance because we're going to help our country heal. We're going to help our country heal. Our country needs help. It needs help very badly. Fix our borders. We're going to fix everything about our country. And we made history for a reason tonight, and the reason is going to be just that. We overcame obstacles that nobody thought possible, and it is now clear that we've achieved the most incredible political thing. Look what happened. Is this crazy? But it's a political victory that our country has never seen before, nothing like this. I want to thank the American people for the extraordinary honor of being elected your 47th president and your 45th president.
Yes.
And every citizen, I will fight for you, for your family, and your future. Every single day, I will be fighting for you, and with every breath in my body, I'll not rest until we have delivered the strong, safe, and prosperous America that our children deserve and that you deserve. This will truly be the golden age of America. That's what we have to have. This is a magnificent victory for the American people that will allow us to make America great again. And in addition to having won the battleground states of North Carolina, I love these places, Georgia, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin, we are now winning in Michigan, Arizona, Nevada, and Alaska, which would result in us carrying at least 315 electoral votes. But that, geez, you're doing what networks did or whoever called it, because there was no other path. There was no other path to victory. We also have won the popular vote. That was great. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Winning the popular vote was very nice, I will tell you. It's a great feeling of love. We have a great feeling of love with people. These people have been incredible. They've made the journey with me, and we're going to make you very happy. We're going to make you very proud of your vote. Looking back, some say that truly a moment of my life beyond the president. This group of great people. America has given us an unprecedented and powerful mandate. We have taken back control of that. Wow, that's good. And the Senate races in Montana, Nevada, Texas, Ohio, Michigan, Wisconsin, the great Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, were all won by the MAGA movement. They helped so much. And in those cases, every one of them, we worked with the senators. They were tough races, and a number of victories in the Senate was absolutely incredible. And we did tele-rallies. We did tele-rallies with each one of them, and sometimes we did 2 or 3 and it was amazing to look at all of those victories. Nobody expected that, nobody. So I just wanted to thank you very much for that. And you have some great senators and some great new senators. It all looks like we'll be keeping control of the House of Representatives. And I want to thank Mike Johnson. He's doing a terrific job. Terrific. I want to also thank my beautiful wife, Melania, for no, she's done a great job, works very hard to help people. My amazing children, and they are amazing children. Now, we all think our children are amazing. Everybody here thinks their children are amazing, but when they are, Barron is Laura, Jared, Kimberly, Michael, thank you all. What a help. What a great. My father-in-law, Victor, is tremendous, and we miss very much Melania's mother, Amalia. We miss Amalia, don't we, huh? She would be very happy right now, standing on this stage. She'd be so proud. She was a great woman, that one. Beautiful inside and out. She was a great woman. I want to be the first to congratulate our great, now I can say, Vice President-elect of the United States, J.D. Vance. And he is a feisty guy, isn't he? You know, the enemy camp, certain networks, and a lot of people don't like this. Sir, do I have to do that? He just goes, okay. Which one? CNN, MSDNC? He'll say, all right, thank you very much. He actually looks like he's like the only guy I've ever seen. He really looks forward to it, and then he just goes in and absolutely obliterates them. A couple of words. Right?
Wild. Well, Mr. President, appreciate you allowing me. Thank you for the trust that you placed in me. And I think that we just witnessed the greatest political comeback in the United States of And under Trump's leadership, we're never going to stop fighting for you, for your dreams, for the future of your children. And after the greatest political comeback in American history, we're going to lead the great comeback in American history under Donald Trump's leadership.
Thank you very much. He's turned out to be. I took a little heat at the beginning, but he was. I knew the brain. About and have a period. Lost that little. It lost that little. That little thing called special. We have to make it so. We're going to make this so great. It's the greatest country and potentially the greatest country that back. We're going to make it the best it's ever been. We can do that. We just, if we had to wait longer, I don't know. It was going bad and it was going bad fast. We're going to have to seal up those borders and we're going to have to let people come into our country. We want people to come back in, but we have to let them come back in. Let me also express my tremendous appreciation for Susie and Chris, the job you did. Susie, come see.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to get me and Arshelle in the conversation for this moment. I mean, Trump wins. He's headed to the White House. I mean, technically it's not there yet, but 267. Alaska comes in. That's it. He needs 3. We saved America. I gotta know because I mean I'm in Texas and my votes here, it's not that they're not a big deal because every vote counts, but you state, and I want to know. I mean, granted, it is like 2:30 over there, but considering our live hours ago,
Yeah.
what is the reaction that you're getting on your end? If you have any yet, like, did you gotten anything yet?
I didn't have any reaction because the person that I was having that conversation with the one that when you guys were on my live, you know, we obviously were at the beginning of this and numbers were coming in. We were obviously seeing that Trump was winning, and the gentleman knew that
Right.
Trump was winning. And I think he just wanted to focus on the differences. And this could just be because it's my first time trying to moderate a conversation with two different sides of opinions as it relates to the presidency. And honestly, this person doesn't believe in a presidency, period. So it could have been anybody, and still it just would have been the case. But you know, on my end, for me personally, because
Right.
obviously it's almost 3:00 in the morning on my end here in Pennsylvania, I
Yeah,
knew
you know,
how
let me
important it
ask
was.
you. I remember I do. Yeah, I gotta say, I remember in 2016, you know, we weren't Trump voters, but we knew
Mhm.
we just didn't want Hillary Clinton to win. And so we were happy that she didn't win. We weren't happy that
Yeah.
he won, but that
Yeah.
she lost. I mean, that's really what
Yeah.
it was. So how does it feel to be on the side of I'm happy that he won? Like, how are you feeling right now?
Yo,
In a swing
I'm
state,
like,
might I
I
add,
remember
that she needed to
watching
win.
Judge
She
Janine
needed to
because
win.
I wasn't a fan of Trump, but you and I were fans of Judge Janine Pirro. And I remember watching her on the day that they announced that Trump was the winner, and she was
Oh, yeah.
in tears. And I'm a big fan of Judge Janine Pirro, and I didn't quite understand the tears, but I understood excitement for why it wasn't Hillary Clinton. Because I remember that day you came to me, you told me, Rochelle, we have a new president. And I was so prepared for you to say Hillary Clinton. And I just took a deep breath and I braced for impact. Like, okay, I know she's going to say Hillary. I know it. Okay, who is it? You told me Donald Trump, and it was like, get the F out of here. No, he's not. I was so excited because it wasn't Hillary. Now I understand why the tears, because
Oh,
yo,
man.
we didn't get to share the excitement in
Yo,
2016. Not
America.
because, you know, I was thrilled that it wasn't Hillary because I already knew it would have been just as bad as it is under Biden. You know, Hillary then Biden would have been far
Yeah.
worse. You know, because that would have been 8 years of terrible policies. But to have this is what it is to have good policies and a good leadership, to then having terrible policies or people can really just wake up. I understand the tears because I don't know if you can hear it in my voice right now, but I'm like, yo, this was a hard win. And in Pennsylvania, why I was so eager to vote, people were telling me it didn't matter, Asia. And I'm like, I don't care if you think it doesn't matter. I'm taking votes from Kamala Harris. I don't even care. Some people were telling me, well, no, because not voting for Trump is a vote for Kamala. No, okay? I'm taking votes from Kamala because I'm tired of trying to convince people why Trump, just not her. And I understand the tears because it's like, I'm tired of being told I can't work here because I don't speak Spanish. I'm tired of hearing millennials and Gen Zers say that they can't have because of a Biden economy. And I chuckle because I feel like sometimes we'll use it as an excuse to, you know, deflect from our entitlement. In other ways, I totally understand it when you're being sincere because I'm sincere about it. It doesn't make sense why we try so hard. The jobs report comes out and it was a total lie because how many jobs weren't there that they said were? Kamala Harris, as the borders are, letting all these illegals in. I'm tired of not knowing where these children are. And the more stories come out about the crimes against children, and not just the ones in the womb, but the ones that are born. There should be so much more, you know, righteous anger to wanting to defend those kids. And it's like, people who are Christians saying that they are believers of Christ, and yet they debate him on when life begins. Okay, Okay, fine. You want to debate the big guy on that. You want to negotiate with the big guy on that. Okay, Trump's not doing that. I understand the tears because I don't know if you can hear it in my voice, but I'm like, yo, this was a hard win. I feel it. I'm like, yo, I'm ready to cry, but I don't like crying on camera, so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to keep it in and try to be Vulcan as much as I possibly can. But I'm like,
And
I
I
worked
understand what
so
you're
hard
I
trying
get
to
you
tell people
because
about Kamala Harris.
you
Pro-life
know
activists are being locked up.
one of the things
Education system, cyber work, young people struggling. The
here's
enemy is at work here. He's at play, and having the
I'm
Biden Kamala economy just
your
yo, Asia, I'm ready to cry because you saw me earlier when you and I were on just on your live. You're like, I'm getting mad.
I hear
Call
you.
it. Just call it. I
Yeah,
watched this happen in 2020.
yeah.
I was so scared, Asia. I was so
You know what's
scared.
crazy?
I'm like, yo, I'm not gonna cry on camera. I'm not gonna do it.
Yeah,
I'm not
I'm
gonna. I understand it
not
now.
gonna
I
lie to
totally
you.
get it. This is how it
I'm
felt
not
for
gonna lie to
people
you.
who voted for Trump in 2016 because you and I didn't vote in that year.
When
We didn't vote.
Yeah,
And it was New York and
I
New
didn't.
Jersey.
We
We
didn't.
didn't vote.
When I think
I
about
didn't
this
understand it,
election,
but
Archie,
oh
I want to interject a little bit here.
yeah, go ahead. I'm
Um,
sorry.
I
Yo,
do to a degree. I understand your sentiment. Um, I think I'm
yo,
definitely being a little bit more Vulcan than you,
I
but I mean, it's not that I haven't been through as much as you. I think what I've
oh
been through
my
has been
gosh.
different than you, because what people don't seem to understand is that the tyranny that came from the Biden administration, like it totally was exacerbated if you lived in a blue state. And I was someone who said that I wanted to accomplish a lot of things, and I believe that I could
Mhm,
accomplish those things under a Trump administration. And I was just not, I was not able to do that under Biden. In fact, I was working myself to an early grave. I mean, during COVID, yeah, I was taking more vacations, but I wasn't able to accomplish what I wanted to. And I took
mhm.
such a risk, and I left my family. Like, I left the East Coast. I live in Texas.
Yeah, I went
I
to
don't
vote
live
and I
in New
was by
Jersey anymore.
myself and
I
I
don't
was thinking, oh man, I wish my
yeah.
Twixter was
I'm like, that's all I thought. That is all I thought. Like, I'm in a whole new state voting, and I know that there's a lot of people that moved here to escape for the same reasons that I did. But I was aware of what I was running away from. And the fact is, I was chased out by a tyrannical regime of New Jersey that was
Mhm,
totally supported by the Biden Harris administration. And so to see Trump win in 2024 and going to take office and headed to the White House in 2025,
mhm.
I mean, I don't see myself going back. I mean, I tell people that Texas is home. It's like Dallas is it's home. I mean, maybe not Dallas specifically, but Texas, it is my home. Like, it's where I'm meant to be. But
Yeah.
even though it's where I'm supposed to be, I'm just like, I walked away from my family. I left my family to get away from how bad the tyranny was. I felt like Lot. Like, I left and didn't look back before I turned into a pillar of salt. Like, that's how it felt. And to see him win, to see him just totally take over.
Because
I mean, it was such a big win. And I'm
like
telling you, I
I
can't wait. I
totally
cannot
get it
wait,
now, yo.
Archelle, to like I can't all these people said Kamala Harris was going to win. And I remember when I was on your live earlier today and I told you about that moment I had in the 7-Eleven. That gentleman owes me a coffee.
Yes, he does. Yo, I
He
had a
owes me a
conversation with our
freaking
cousin
coffee.
earlier because he was over here and he came up for the Halloween party, the late Halloween party that we had this passing Saturday. And they were here for a couple of days. And he was asking because today's the day. Well, yesterday, obviously, November 5th was the day.
Yeah.
And I'm like, he's like, so who do you think is going to win? I'm like, you already know. Orange Man's going to the White House. It's going down. It's happening. He's like, you really think that? Yeah. Well, why do you think that? Because Kamala is not as strong as Biden, to put it in his words. Okay. This is what he told Obama. She's not as strong as he is. He was right. Okay. She's not plausible to pass as a moderate. She's been communist too long. Okay. The fact that she was a, Oh, the fact that she's a reformed harlot, we could call her that, a reformed harlot, that pisses off a
Yeah.
lot of men, especially because of the manosphere. Getting the Taylor Swift endorsement didn't help her very much. She had that hot mic moment between her and the Wicked Witch of the West of Michigan, Whitmer, saying that she needs to make more ground movement with men, and she just wasn't having that work for her. And Trump's doing ads and interviews with the garbage people, you know, working the garbage trucks. Oh, he struggled to open the garbage truck because he's a billionaire who runs hotels. Like, oh, that was one of the SNL jokes that they made. He's having a hard time opening the garbage truck because this is a man who owns hotels, and this is why he doesn't do labor like this. And that should tell you something. We don't understand even the smallest detail just in opening a garbage truck. We don't appreciate. Trump learned that. The detail it takes to put the French fries in the thing. We talking about Krabby Patties at freaking Wendy's, for goodness sake. I did get it. It is delicious, by the way.
I want to know, how does it taste? It's good.
You know, I'm more of a McDonald's than I am a Wendy's, you know, and it's not because Wendy's is bad. It's because I've been,
the Krabby Patty?
psychologically conditioned
McDonald's
because
girl.
the big M. Why McDonald's over Wendy's? But the second Wendy's said Krabby Patties, not only do I gotta buy the Krabby Patty, but I gotta buy the Krabby Patty, eat it while I'm watching SpongeBob. Like, I gotta do it. And it was me and our niece eating Krabby Patty meals, watching freaking SpongeBob.
Let me guess.
Like,
It was to the Krusty Krab pizza. Is the
It's the-
pizza for you and me?
the Krusty Krab.
See, but Trump understands how much detail. See,
and
Trump
our niece,
respects
we
the
were crazy.
SpongeBob's, right?
He respects the SpongeBob.
Right, Trump respects the
Yes.
SpongeBob's and the
He respects
Squidwards,
the
whereas
SpongeBob.
Kamala Harris would have a
Does not.
Mr. Krabs.
And that's
at
the thing
her
about it,
rally.
because from where we were in 2020, you and I said this to people. I'm telling you, if this man gets into office, we looked at his agenda and they saw pretty words, right? The Paris Climate Accords, they saw pretty words. What did you and I see when we read the Paris Climate Accords? We saw high gas prices, high grocery prices, potential war. Energy is a reason for war if you're under the impression you don't have it here. And the thing is,
and
under
not to
Trump,
mention,
saw
we
that
even
we
said
had
a
not
bad.
only-
We said a bad economy. They just
Right.
called Minnesota
because
for
and that's the thing, and
Kamala
I've
Harris.
noticed it more with young people, especially because I speak to young people about their finances, budgeting, you know, being humble.
Yeah.
Specifically, you know, my situation on my side, as I see family members and friends struggling, particularly with the Gen Zers. There is an entitlement amongst young people that, because we've had it so easy, because we've never fully struggled in our youth into our early teens, adulthood, that we don't think that things should be hard. And when things are going well, and this is not even just true for young people, but this is also true for Americans in general, we had it really good under Trump, really good. That because things were so good, we thought you didn't need strong leadership. You thought you needed Joe Biden. And not to say that I believe that Joe Biden won, but if more people believed that Trump was better than Biden, even with the so-called plausible diversion and a moderate like Joe Biden, he never could have won if those people didn't vote for him. And that was the whole thing. It was the fact that they were able to, you know, make it seem as if he appeared to win. The fact that they had the appearance of a win is why he won. Not because he actually won, but the appearance of a win. And that was enough.
That he did.
And so
You
now
know, I gotta
don't
say,
have
you
that
know,
with
I'm
Kamala
gonna
Harris.
say, you don't, like, no one was believing that she was going to win. And so
And
I was,
yo,
you know,
Asia, I
I
tell
remember
ya,
all day
it's
yesterday,
like
I was dealing with individuals who were expecting me to vote
Mhm.
for Kamala Harris because of the color of my skin. And it goes back to what I was saying on your live, where I don't identify as a Black
so
female. I am a Christian supremacist, America First conservative female. And I said on this live, the only reason why I attach female to that, because sex is irrelevant, it does not matter. But the left has been doing everything they can to roll back what real women fought for as it related to just privacy. I mean, I don't want no man coming into my locker room or my bathroom. I mean, do you remember when we were in like high school, we were like 17 and we went to the gym with our mom and she brought us into the adult locker room? And you can
Yeah.
see how women are comfortable around each other because they're in their space. And I could just imagine some dude walking into that locker room. And you know what we experienced going in there. And it was like, Mom, I don't want to be in this locker room anymore. I was uncomfortable just from seeing, women. So imagine what would happen if a man violated that space. And he's the only one looking to look out for women's rights as it relates to privacy. Like, never mind sports, not to say that that's not important, but privacy rights is a big deal. And you're going to sit here. They won't, and they should call it already. And I'm looking at it like, what's taking y'all so
55
long? Like,
to
most
like
of this
her
is
51. Just call it, yo.
exactly. But I'm like, just call it. But they're like,
Just
only
call it.
50% of the vote. I'm like, call Michigan then, because we're in the lead there. Like, we're in the lead. He's up like 7 points there with 72%. 89% in Wisconsin has been counted. He's at 51. Nevada,
Yep.
80% has been counted.
And I
He's
won't
at
lie,
51.
I
and
am ready for the
46.
insults
Arizona
tomorrow.
is
You're
the
a
same.
misogynist. You're
Honestly,
a
I think
self-hating
Arizona
racist.
only went up
I
like
am
1
ready
point.
for it, yo. Bring it
Yeah.
on. Call me every
I'm
name
so
in the
excited.
book.
That guy
I
owes
don't
me
care.
in the
I'm about
book.
to
I don't even
save
care.
word.
He
I don't
just
even
saved
care.
America. And
I'm
most
about to
people would like
save
this.
babies.
Most people want to
I'm about to
say,
close those
yeah,
borders.
most people want to say that, we are just being extremists and that you didn't really save America and none of it matters. And people
Call it
want
what
to
you
talk
want.
to us about
Word.
abortion and all that nonsense. And one of the things that I've realized that I've learned over this past election cycle is that when I look for a president of the United States, I'm not looking for a head of state. I'm looking for a head of government. I need someone who's going to keep government out of the way. I need someone who's going to, like, when government decides that it wants to interfere in my life, he's going to hold them at bay, like grab them, yoke that collar back and let me do what I have to do, because I don't want to have to run again. I hate that I had to leave my family to feel like I can make it. Like, I moved here in a Biden administration. I moved here last year, 2023, and we were in the primary season or just entering it anyway. And it was like, I need him to win. I need him to win. I need to make sure that whatever it is that I want to do, whatever business I want to build, and you know how I feel about, everyone becoming content creators and all of that. And I do want to know how content creators, what's going to happen when Donald Trump isn't in the White House anymore, or half the people who made it on podcasts during Trump going to survive Trump. And you know how we feel about podcasts, right? When it comes to, like, as we look at it like it's industrial theater, industrial podcasting, it has to be connected to business. And so I know I want to be able to do something that can be of service to my fellow American, and that's going to benefit others, as well as, what we want to accomplish. But I need government out of my way, because you and I both know that just the fact that we know the history when it comes to the federal government. Just look at what Obama did with the IRS going after conservatives. Could you imagine if you and I were going to build some, like, financial service or something? You're doing budgeting. What if you were specifically helping those who are through your church, but Obama or someone like him sick the IRS on you? Like, why are you coming after my books? What did I do wrong? It was simply because you were a Christian conservative helping others budget their own money, right? And the fact that he's put together a team of people that want to shrink the government, get rid of agencies. I mean, that is the thing that has me the most excited and gets me choked up. And I swear to you, I cannot wait to go to work, like, be in the office and be like,
yo,
my guy
I tell you,
won.
I'm
And
so
I can't wait
excited
for him to take
because
office.
today, I guess I should say more accurately, today, I work with some comedian females for the podcast Two Voices, One Punchline, TVOP as the acronym. And I work as their producer and podcast engineer. And, as a producer, as a podcast engineer, that's like my, the arts are where my strengths are entirely. I had to learn the financial stuff because I was so bad with money. And the more I learned about money, the more I realized I just didn't know. And the more I learned about culture and society at large and looking at what was happening with young people specifically, the more I realized how entitled we were as young people, and that we don't really appreciate the things that we're given. A lot of our parents and our grandparents, sometimes our uncles and aunts, or maybe older siblings, right? Depends on when your parents started having kids or how old your parents are, that were given things so easily because they were denied. Maybe because the things didn't exist, maybe because they couldn't afford those opportunities for themselves or for their eldest children, that they're willing to give it to the youngest, that they're willing to share and provide these opportunities to the youngest of the next ones, right? So you and I, for example, we got flat screens where the older siblings did not. It didn't exist when they were 13, where for us it did. Cell phones, right? Didn't exist for them the way that it did for us. Cable with the cable card at the time didn't exist for them the way that it did for us. We didn't have some of the same struggles that the older generation does. So when we hear the older generation talk about things like the Central Park Five, racism, discrimination, I didn't know what that was like.
It's annoying.
And then when I did experience those things, I was discriminated against because I didn't speak Spanish. And yet that wasn't a problem for people. Well, I understand. What do you mean? Okay, so if I said I was discriminated against because I'm Black, there'd be, oh, you should sue them. Oh, if you were discriminated against because you were female, oh, you should sue them. Okay, I was just discriminated against because I don't speak a language that is not the primary language of this country, America, which is English. Explain why you are not as outraged. I'm pissed. Well, because all these justifications and excuses. And
that's how I feel about it. You know what?
I want to being an older millennial, now that I'm in my now that we are in our older 20s, I can look back at where I was being outrageous in my younger 20s. I thought life shouldn't be this hard. Well, the world is unfair, but family
I hate to cut you off.
Things are different.
Yeah. I hate to cut you off, but I want you to be able to, give your closing remarks, tell my audience where they can follow you, give them the information about your YouTube channel, because I am exhausted and I do have to get up in like 3.5, 4 hours. So I want you to be able to get the support from my audience before I close this out. So, just let everybody know where they can find you and how they can support your show.
I got you. Well, you guys can follow me on Instagram at Arshel Financial. You can follow me on Twitter at Archie_finance. And you can support the show, as you see on the screen there, by Cash Apping me at #Arshel Branch. If you head over to the YouTube channel for Arshel Financial, you'll find the link to my Cash App in the description box of the YouTube channel. So again, you can Cash App me on the YouTube channel description box. The link to Cash App is there at #Arshel Branch. Follow me on Twitter at Archie_finance, on Instagram at Arshel Financial. As far as my closing statement goes, you guys, it's taking everything not to get teary-eyed, because this is a hard win. And for those who voted for Trump in 2016, I can honestly say, I get it. I get it. Because I didn't vote for Trump in that time. I wasn't a fan of Hillary Clinton, and I didn't know how I felt about Trump. I just felt like, I don't know if I could trust him. I know I can't trust her. And I didn't know enough to say why I should vote for him. And then I woke up the next day and he was the president. And I was so excited because it wasn't Hillary. And I was galvanized, and I thought, oh my goodness, it's not her. And he was saving jobs before he took the oath of office. I mean, Good Morning America covered this. I see young people and we are struggling. The fentanyl crisis is killing young Americans. The illegal immigration problems. Oh my goodness. I get it now. Totally get it. Because in 2020, I knew he won. We know he won. And it feels, looking back, more divine, that there was a reason why the Lord let that happen. There are too many people in this country who don't appreciate what they have. They are so focused on the oppression of yesteryear, being the victims of isms, as Asia would put it, which is so accurate. I just had a whole conversation on my live as to what's wrong with Trump. He's a felon. Kamala is the first Black woman. She should win. All these just lies that people believe. And I get it. I'm so sick and tired of seeing young people do rants on TikTok because they can't afford an apartment. That is a studio. That's $2,000. Are you kidding me? They can go over a year and not find a job because somebody said the jobs report looks good, that they should be able to apply and get a job and they can't. That if you're someone who wants to build a business and be an entrepreneur, that's not going to be respected. That if you're someone who believes in defending your family, that somehow that makes you toxic. That if you're a woman who voted for Trump, then you hate being a female, that you hate other females. That if you want to save babies, you're against women's rights. Yet somehow I want to protect women in locker rooms and in their own sports. And yet somehow I'm a problem. You can't have it both ways. These individuals are possessed. They are warped. And this fight, and it's still not over. We're still waiting for them to call other states. 267. He's 3 away from the win, and they just don't want to give it to him. They know he won this. 2020, I stayed up. I was told I was a non-essential worker. I stayed up. I watched those numbers, and I was waiting for the win, and it didn't come in. It's coming in. He's the win. I feel it. I get it. There's so much momentum. There's so much power in this movement because it's not even about Trump right now, yo. It's not about Trump. It's about being Christ first, being Christian first, being an honorable human being. And I think we're going to make that happen with America First. And with Trump in the White House, we're going to get that done. So thank you guys for having me. Thank you so much, Twinkster, for having me. Because, yo.
I'm so glad you signed on to this live. It definitely made it go a little bit longer because honestly, I would not have been able to go 3 hours and 20 minutes without you having been here. And it's crazy because we did 3 hours on your channel, 3.5, 3 and 20 on mine.
Yeah, we've been doing
And
this
really,
for
that
6
is like
hours.
6 hours. And honestly, if we were able to, well, I'm kind of glad we didn't. I'm kind of glad we didn't share broadcasts on that. But you know what I mean. I'm glad that we were able to put in the 3 hours. I wish I could actually officially declare Donald Trump the 270 electoral college vote victory. But 267 to 224 is a good place to end. We know he's gonna take it home. There's no stealing it. I know if we go to sleep 4 or 5 hours from now when I get up, they can't say Kamala took it. So I'm so
I'm gonna be
grateful
on
that
it.
that you came on. I'm
I'll
so
be
glad you
tired
came
than a
on, and I
mofo.
will be talking
Yeah.
to you in about 6 hours over coffee. Day. Thank you so much for coming on, Twixter. I'm so grateful. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. Again, you guys can cash at me at #our branch to support the channel. Thank you so much, Twinkster. And let's save America. So say we all.
Word. Say we all.
So say
man,
we
that means
all.
so much
So
more
say we
now.
all.
Say we all. For those of you who
Word.
do not get it, watch Battlestar Galactica and you'll get it. That means so much more now because
Yes, it
of what the heck we just been through this election cycle. But thank you again, Archie, for signing on. I'm gonna just give out my little closing argument. But thanks again for signing on. I'm exhausted. So say we all.
So say we all, Twinkster, and your viewers.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I can't believe it. You know, I got to say I'm so grateful to Archie for signing on to this live. I mean, I didn't think I was going to go more than an hour, maybe an hour and a half. I said I was going to stay on till 1 a.m. and I'm pretty sure I logged on around 11. But this was a momentous occasion, okay? Because who the heck, I don't even know how to put this into words. I mean, honestly, Arshelle said it best. I mean, so much struggling under Biden that maybe it was divine. Trump losing. And I put that in air quotes for a reason. Because we know what happened in 2020. We were all awake. I stayed up. Well, not as long as this, but I did stay up to around 1:45 to midnight, waiting to see that Trump was in the lead. And when I went to sleep, I woke up there were some things wrong and there were some shenanigans happening. And then Kristi Noem calmed the storm. A Reagan loss, a Goldwater loss brought a Reagan victory. And who would have thought a Trump loss 4 years ago would bring a Trump victory? And maybe it was divine intervention. We had to suffer. We all had it. We had it so good. And great times create weak people. And weak people from a type 1 class A society have nothing to complain about. You've suffered nothing. This is a country predominantly filled with young people. Now, well, sort of. We don't have that many young people, but we are kind of sort of the majority. Gen Xers to millennials and Gen Zers have the majority. We have nothing to complain about. We complain about how we're killing Mother Gaia, the atheist says. Show me an atheist, I'll show you his God. When Christian conservatives say that we want American society to be more moral, we're not even asking you to walk the path of the cross. We're saying stop murdering the baby if they survive the abortion. We're saying we want to close the border because we're tired of these illegals coming in and raping the taxpayer, literally and financially. This country was going to hell in a handbasket, and if Kamala Harris won, this country could be kissed goodbye. Now, Arshelle and I talked a little bit about it on this live, that the Democrats are literally trying to figure out ways where Donald Trump does not have the authority over this country. And I've heard rumors that they're talking about liberal states, blue states, talking about removing themselves from the United States of America and just govern themselves. You should have been doing that this entire time. As the United States, just because you have a federal government does not mean that you have no responsibility. No, you abdicated it so you can get some money from the taxpayer at the federal level. And Donald Trump, along with the JLA that he's put together, will stop that nonsense. I'm so glad that he won. I'm so glad. And it's such a different feeling. I mean, y'all don't understand. In 2016, I was happy that Hillary did not win. I didn't care that he won. I wasn't happy that he won. I was ecstatic that the chick lost. Crooked Hillary was gone, going away. She didn't win. That was all that mattered. And then in 2020, when I was really ready to vote for him, I went from being ecstatic that Crooked Hillary didn't win to pissed off that my guy lost and that it was stolen from him. And I knew it was. I saw it happen. Well, I didn't. Archie did. To now being so ecstatic and so happy that he won it. And not because it's about him. And that's what these lefties don't get. Or at least the ones who voted for Kamala. Because the establishment Democrat know full on well it was never about Trump. It was always about we the American people. We don't vote for him because we think he's the next Messiah. We voted for him because he's going to get you off our backs and out of the way, and he's going to hold you people to account. You all will either face the consequences that we the people vote for you to get, or you will face the consequences like they did in the fall of House of Usher. Either way, you're getting it, but you will not mess with us anymore. And that's why this time he won. I'm so grateful. I'm so happy. I freaking left my family to get away from tyranny. I left. I ran. Out of tyranny and into the desert was my year. I left in August of 2023. I left my family. And that was not easy. I had no driver's license, no job, barely a savings account, and I had to be resilient like nobody's business. You want to tell me that it was because of racism that I was failing in New Jersey? No. They looked at me like I was a subject. The New Jersey government did that. Businesses who refused to comply with COVID laws were losing their dollars. So what hope do I have as a conservative? The businesses that were not complying weren't even conservative. They just wanted to work. When did right to work become a Christian, conservative, Republican thing that they had to stop? Maybe that was always the case, and we didn't notice it until Trump ran for office. And that's why he had to win. That's why this is such a big deal. Arshel is not the only one who's emotional. There are millions of Americans. He won the freaking popular vote. I mean, I did not see that coming. Did not see it coming. And you know why? Because we're sick of you Democrats, the establishment, not you voters. I'm done debating you because you either get it or you don't. But let us go save America. We will be the Justice League of this country. And you go have yourself a cocktail at some club that we damn sure kept open because your Democrat governor is probably going to shut it down when they announce another virus. Bet you he don't shut down this time. Bet you the conservatives won't let you vaccinate us this time. It's a whole new ball game. It's a transformative government. And it's like back in being 1776 all over again. And this time, the American population and the conservative got the backbone. We had to suffer alongside you Democrats. We won't do that anymore. We're not running anymore. It was never about Donald Trump. He learned that on January 6th when he told everybody to leave. It was never about him. It never was. Get that through your skulls, Democrats, you Borg out there. Donald Trump won. And the Justice League of America. And you know why I say that? Because it's America first. We're here to save America and set the example for the rest of the country. The world, excuse me. I'm not sending them across the globe. Create your own heroes. Learn from our mistakes. Benefit from those lessons. And stop asking us to fight your wars. Stop asking us to pay for it because we won't anymore. That's why he had to win. That's why he did win. And thank God Almighty, you Democrats who suffered along with us, who voted for Trump, I'm glad we held back the I told you so. Gosh, I had to get that out. Thank you guys for tuning in and staying up to 2 a.m. if you're living in Texas. If you're on the East Coast, it's already 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm so ecstatic, but I got to go to sleep, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you're notified anytime I go live, post a new episode, post a short. I will be putting the link of Ruth's Retreat House in the comment section later today after I get up. Otherwise, you guys, you can hashtag me at hashtag AsiaSade1. You can totally cash up to support for Ruth's Retreat House. We just want to be prepared for the season of perpetual hope. God bless you all. Enjoy the rest of your, morning. And until next time, your fault why you can't achieve it. Because you've been sitting here blaming white. Oh, it's the white man. It's systemic racism why I can't have generational wealth. Amen and hallelujah to that. Amen and hallelujah.